Ladies and gentlemen, the Freaky Fast broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series Season 8, and it is chase racing time. If you missed last week's race, the start of the chase, it's one you're going to want to go back and watch, as Talladega was the start of the incredible chase run for Season 8, where we got to see Jared Talmadge come out of nowhere and steal the finish at the start-finish line, and it was certainly a spectacular one that you, again, have to go back and see. Tonight, we come to Phoenix, a track that has marked plenty of upset wins in the past. If you are a driver that's got speed, that can stay up front and lead, doesn't mean you're going to be the driver that wins at the end of the day. As the past has shown, it's quite difficult to do. But here tonight, we're excited to give you all the coverage again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. And Zach, we're under the lights here at Phoenix, and we know this track can bring out a lot of tempers, and especially with the tempers that were shown at the end of last week's race at Talladega. I think we're set up for a pretty spectacular show.
That we are, Sam. Yeah, second race of the playoffs, and man, this is going to really be an interesting one, because last week at Talladega did definitely set the stage for a wild scenario in this chase format. So I can't wait to see how the second race plays out, and really our true first short track race of the season when it comes to racing for points. So we had the Bristol All-Star race, but this is really our first true test of a short track, and this track is a tough one for sure.
And after the end of last week's race, both Cody Reed and Thomas Green going to be given penalties for reckless driving, and both going to be given L2 penalties because of that. Cody Reed's L2 also from a penalty from going under the yellow line and coming up unsafely, and then also for accruing too many at-fault incident points that elevated the L1 up to an L2, as both of those drivers that made the late race contact, trying to go for the win, that ultimately didn't get it, will start at the end of the line here tonight. But some other drivers of note, we are in the chase, did not have the best race that they were hoping for last week. A couple of those drivers, Noah Steele, Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, some of those that were expecting good runs to carry forward after a great regular season for themselves. We've got Vincent Sora starting out here tonight, 10th in points. He had the advantage entering last week. Not going to be the case here tonight. He needs a good rebound race. Also, other drivers, John Forbes, he was second entering into the chase after entering last week's race. He's tied with sixth with Trenton Jump and Trenton Jump, as Ollie Fonseca is 8th in points, and those drivers as well, they've got a lot of points to recover, because the driver that ultimately won last week, Jared Talmadge, has a 19-point advantage over Isaac Shelley and a 20-point advantage over Joshua Kanata. We'll see if Talmadge can continue on this incredible season that 27 has had. As we are about to be entering into qualifying, drivers have 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap, and only 2 laps to do so. Zach, what are the main things these drivers are looking for as drivers are hitting the track for qualifying?
The one thing I've seen the most from qualifying runs that I've seen in practice, Sam, is people losing the rear end coming out of turn number 4 to hit the start-finish line. So I'm interested to see who's going to try their best to get the momentum up. And you can see right here, Danny Cochran, he's coming to a complete stop there, resetting, because he didn't feel like his run up to the line was optimal. So he's going to fully go back to pit road and try to reset that truck. But now we'll watch the 82 here, Justin Sipes. He's going to attempt his first lap here, and you're going to cut that dog leg to try to get that shortest distance around here. And then from here, the line is going to be very, very interesting. What line do you want to run? The bottom, the middle, and the top are very usable here at Phoenix in 1 and 2, but down here in 3 and 4, in my opinion, you're going to see a lot of people just go straight to that yellow line and try to carry as much momentum around that inside.
So for a strong run for himself. First lap in, going to be Ryan Ferraro setting the tone with a 27.2 second lap time. Sipes going to take that lap away. It's a 26.8. A lot of drivers were curious, what lap times could they hit? Saw some of the faster times during practice being around the 26.9 to 26.6. Those were the kind of ranges we were seeing from the slow drivers to the fast drivers, about a 0.3 difference. And you might have to be inside of the 26.6 to a 26.7 if you want the pole time. As Sipes, his fastest lap, a 26.8 currently at this moment.
It seems like his was faster on the first lap. So We'll see if a few of these other drivers can find more speed on that second lap, where we normally see the qualifying laps come through. But Smith on his first lap goes to the top of the board. So great timing from him. And it looks like, yeah, Danny Cochran, on his second lap, he's going to pick up and he's going to go to third on the board. So, yeah, pick up for Danny Cochran on his second lap. We'll see if the double zero can even show more speed on his second.
And Ollie Fonseca also on his second lap going to be bouncing up to second position, being 3/100ths of a second off of that Ethan Smith time, as Ethan Smith was hoping to advance and get faster on his second lap. Not going to be the case. It is a 26.657. And looking at other drivers, John Forbes looks like his first lap going to be a slow one. He was setting up for a quick time, as last week's winner, Jared Talmadge, he's going to take it very slow on his first lap, a 29-second lap time, as he is waiting for this lap. This is the money lap for the driver that won and is currently our points leader heading into this second race of the chase. Vincent Sora bounces up into second position for the 15. But what speed does Talmadge have? John Force, fastest during practice. He'll come up shy for fourth. Talmadge, does he have the speed to take the top spot? He was 13th slowest driver of all, and he will take that top spot. Oh boy, by 4/100ths of a second over Ethan Smith. What a time, and that would be just 2/1000ths of a second slower than John Forbes' fast lap during practice.
That is impressive to see from our points leader coming into tonight. And Jerry picking up, I mean, literally where he left off. He had almost a perfect race when it comes to points last week at Talladega. The only thing he could have done different is get that 1 point for 0 incidents. Very tough to do, of course, at super speedways. But he, I mean, led the most laps with the 3 bonus points there. Led a lap course from just leading a lap, you get the 1 point, and then he got 10 from the race win. So he accrued 14 bonus points last week, Sam, and I think that's really what's propelled him to his lead. So starting on the pole, he's going to start right back off with another bonus point, most likely.
And looking at getting the pole time, I think all eyes were on John Force for him to take that top spot. He's got the pole the last 2 times we've ran here, back in season 6 and 7. Not going to be the case here tonight. He will be 5th currently on the board. Isaac Shelley, who's going to be hoping for his runs to continue on this season. He's came up as the top time in qualifying multiple times here this season. He will come up shy in 4th. Thomas Green, Jared Talmadge's teammate and Shelley's teammate, still sits in pit road and will not set a time. Reason why? Penalty from last week's incident with Cody Reed. Nick Crawford, driver who won here back in season 6, he's hoping to find some magic, as he has been a driver who's found some sneaky speed here at Phoenix in the past, back in season 3 and 6. Will he find any more magic, as that 1 lap that he gets placed in, it's a 28.0, and there is not enough time to go around this track once again. That will be 20th position for the 74 here this evening.
Tough break, yeah, running out of time there for him, but going to have 150 laps to try to make his way through the field here tonight at Phoenix.
22 drivers going to be starting here tonight, and the main reason why, we've got a lot of drivers missing out on tonight, some going on vacation, other for weather reasons. Thoughts and prayers to the families that are dealing with the crazy weather that's going on currently right now in Central America, in the center of the United States, in the Midwest, really dealing with tornadoes. I know Nico Garcia will be missing out. Also, Dakota Moniz, both will be missing tonight's race because of weather issues. TJ Callaway has announced he will not be showing up here tonight, and hopefully enjoying his vacation. Joshua Stovall, he was hoping to bring his rig on vacation. Not going to be the case, but I hope the 42 enjoys watching the show here tonight. As with seeing those drivers missing out on tonight's points, let's take a look at what the point standings are entering this evening, as warm-ups is currently underway. And top of the board, after his incredible run last week, Jared Talmadge leading the charge. Isaac Shelley, Jared Talmadge's teammate, going to be in second. He was one of the biggest movers from the way that last week's race ended from the points. Joshua Kanata, third. And then you look at the rest of the leaderboard, Zach, this chase, it is completely wide open with the removal of stage break points. I mean, it is really important on just finishing the races.
It really is. And I tell you what's going to be really, really critical is who wins these races. I think that 10 bonus points that you get is really make or break. I mean, you look at someone like a John Forbes, 25 points back. If he was to go out there and win tonight, and if Jared finishes second to him, he's at least gaining for sure 10 points on him with that win because of how those bonus points. So I think that's going to be the way to claw your way back in for a lot of these guys that are farther down, but it's still wide open for sure. I mean, you can gain a lot and lose a lot in this format.
Certainly the case. Thomas Green, even with coming away and having a second place finish last week, 9th on the board currently. So a lot of work for that 3 machine. Looking at other drivers, Noah Steele, he's going to need an incredible finish. Danny Cochran, who is the additive, as Alan Elwood, who officially did make it into the chase, backed out, gave his position to the 2. See how Danny Cochran, who has found success here back in season 3, a season 3 winner here at Phoenix, see if he can find a win and propel himself for a chance to have another chance at this championship. Because if you don't succeed tonight, you could basically count your championship hopes done and dusted. As we move away from the points standings, let's take a look at the schedule. We've got 4 races left here for this season. We got Phoenix here tonight, Darlington next week, Rockingham, then Kansas. So it really doesn't get much easier after Talladega after last week, as we're seeing finally the birth of short tracks and the emergence of these intermediate courses that are very tough on drivers, and it's a lot more of racing the track than your competition around you.
That's exactly right. I think 2 of those tracks that really highlight that are Darlington and Rockingham right there in the middle. I mean, those 2 are definitely tracks you have to race to racetrack. You can't really focus too much on your competition, or you're going to end up in that wall and in trouble very, very quickly. So we'll see how those 2 shape up, of course, tonight with Phoenix being a short track, and Kansas, always a great race there. I think we got quite the show and lineup set up for us here to see who's going to be able to pull off this championship and do it in fashion.
As we're coming down to the final 2 minutes of warm-ups, this is our usual time that we take a look at our pick'ems. Who are drivers that we feel like are those to watch out for? We made these picks during practice before qualifying started. Just drivers we thought, hey, they might have a good race here tonight. Sometimes we pick great, sometimes we pick wrong, and I feel like I hit it right on the money. I've chose Jarrett Talmadge, the 27 machine. He's just been looking solid, been trying to find more consistency, and if he can find a good finish here tonight, I mean, he just then has to finish inside of the top 5 for the rest of this playoff and this chase period, and he could be hoisting a championship and be joining the history books. I'm loving this 27, takes the pole here tonight. Let's see if he actually can break the record of being the first pole sitter to win here at Phoenix. Zach, who do you have as a driver to watch out for here this evening?
I definitely like that pick there, Sam, for the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge, but I had to go with the 15 tonight of Vincent Sora. He's historically very, very good at this track. I've seen him win a lot of races here before, and I just have a feeling that he's got a fire lit underneath him after coming in leading the points to being sitting 2 points back. He's got to have a fire lit underneath him. He has to come out here tonight and personally win this race if he wants to get his championship hopes back on the right track.
Then our third member of our group, who's running production in the background, that's Robert Moyer Jr., and he's going to tag along with me as well. Jarrett Talmadge, 27 machine. I mean, it's really hard not to pick him. He's been on a hot streak. He swept the super speedways with winning the opener at Daytona, winning Talladega to start the chase. We'll see if the 27 can find that consistency. But I just touched on it, Zach, the fact of no pole sitter has ever won here at Phoenix in the past. Jarrett Talmadge has got a curse that he's got to break here tonight.
And that's quite the curse to break. I mean, normally you would think that is a wild stat, because this place is so track position orientated. You want to be out front, but it just seems like every time we've had someone who's dominated a race or led up front, in these races, something's gone wrong for him. So we'll see if Jarrett can break that curse, because he's been on quite the run.
And the main reason why, late cautions. It has been a notorious thing that happens here at Phoenix. Late cautions, 40, 20 laps to go. That range of 40 to 20 laps to go is going to be the critical motion of this race of, can we stay out of trouble, or will we have a long green flag run? We'll see if these drivers got it, as we've got a smaller field than usual. Only 22 drivers racing here tonight, and taking the top spot on the pole, it's the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. After his win last week at Talladega, he wants to carry that momentum forward. Driver that just wants to carry momentum and finish out the season strong, it will be to his outside, that's Ethan Smith. Zach's pick to watch out for, the 15 of Vincent Sora, will be starting in third, with Isaac Shelley starting in fourth place. Ollie Fonseca will take fifth position for himself. John Forbes, yet to win at this track, but has gotten the award of most laps led and pole sitter award 2 times. We'll see if he can carry that momentum for himself, starting sixth. Danny Cochran, winner of this race back in season 3, will start 7th. 8th, we find Justin Sipes. Samuel Garcia will be starting 9th, and finishing out our top 10, it's the 46 of Trenton Jump.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 91 of Martin Morales Jr. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 16 of Joshua Kanata. 13th in qualifying is going to go to the 99 of Michael Miller, with Noah Steele starting 14th alongside him. 15th is going to be the 77 of Malik Kuntz, with the 10 truck of Ryan Ferraro starting in 16th. 17th is going to be the 29 of Logan Brakey, with Cody Reed, a past winner here at Phoenix, starting at 18th in the 25 machine. 19th is going to go to the 53 of Eric Stamp. We have another playoff contender back here of Nick Crawford starting in 20th. Also, Thomas Green starting back in 21st. And rounding out our field will be Tyler Dingler in the 19th.
Again, 2 drivers that will be sent to the back with EOL penalties. Going to be seeing Cody Reed and Thomas Green sent to the back. We are aware of some issues going on with the broadcast. We're hoping that it gets cleared up. Again, crazy weather's been going on. We hope that it continues to stable out as we go into the rest of this race. Tonight's race is going to be 150 laps here at Phoenix. Again, we continue on with this season. No stage break. We could go flag to flag without any yellows. We'll see if that's possible here this evening. Drivers also have 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. This race looks like could turn into a one-stop, but do the tires last that long? It's going to be the true question of tonight's race. Zach, the Tone Center, they got off of Talladega. That was the major wild card race if anyone had a chance to win. Here at Phoenix, our first quote-unquote short track race of the season. That's for points. What do you think these drivers are feeling knowing that this could be a mess right off the rip?
I think a lot of drivers know their backs are already against the wall after Talladega. I mean, with the gap that Talmadge has accumulated, and also just the consistency the 27's had, it's been super impressive to see. So we'll see when this green flag drops here if he can get himself out to a clean lead.
If you've never seen a Phoenix race, the front stretch has an open dog leg. You can go as low as you want, but you have to complete a full lap first. Once we go green, these drivers have to stay side by side and stay on the track. How clean can we stay? Let's find out. It's the second race of the chase is underway. Jared Talmadge getting a huge push for himself, and also going to be seeing the competition of Vincent Sora giving him the shove down into turn number 1. It's Talmadge, Sora, as well as Ethan Smith. They're already 3 wide exiting out turn number 2, and it's all Talmadge to the backstretch.
Oh no, Ethan Smith up into the wall. He's going to go from second all the way, it looks like now, maybe falling outside of the top 6 and maybe even the 7th after that first lap, as the Double Zero got high there in 1 and 2 and got up in that wall. But right now, Talmadge controlling the lead. Shelley jumps up to 3rd, and Forbes is now battling for 4th with Fonseca. Here's that top 5 is right on top of each other.
Right on top of one another. Jared Talmadge knows he needs to get space and needs to get away from Vincent Sora, but you also have to be conservative on your tires. These tires will fall away, building up heat. It's gonna be a trouble all night long, even with the sun setting for these drivers. The lights are on, and so are these drivers' pace. They know it's go time here this evening. It's a little bit of blinking from that 98 of Isaac Shelley. It has cleared up. But Zach, it is all Talmadge. He's running the middle lane. Well, it looks like Vincent Sora wants to run right down that yellow line through 1 and 2.
1 and 2 gives you a ton of options, in my opinion. So I like what Talmadge is doing out front. Just letting the truck naturally wash up the racetrack, not putting too much wheel into it, not really hurting the front tires. You don't want to scrub those things very early, because the heat that you were talking about builds up, and that really accumulates and makes the balance just that much more worse when your truck is. We've seen John Forbes here. He has found his way up to 4th and 6th, so the 11 already making quick work here of a few drivers.
This has been the worry. We're already seeing all these drivers 4 laps in, single filing out, and it has been the talking point for multiple seasons in a row. Dirty air and making passes. It's tough to make any type of movement forward after that initial launch and passes being made. Once everyone's single filed out, it's really forced someone to make a mistake. Someone has to really throw away their run as we hop on board with the 46 of Trenton Jump, as he's trying to keep himself inside of the top 10. And he just sees a trail of drivers ahead, not really nowhere to go, as he continues to run where he's at, as everyone else stays in line.
And that is exactly what you're saying, Sam. It just becomes a train, and clean air here becomes so valuable. That's why I think that pole position, unfortunately, not having a one yet, but I think it is so valuable to have if you can keep that lead position. You know, that's going to be really the critical thing. Keep your nose out in that clean air. But I tell you, it's going to be interesting to see who can make passes, because right now John Forbes is definitely on the attack when it comes to doing that. He's trying to make the bottom work, but I'm thinking he's going to start giving up that right rear quarter panel and possibly giving himself, you know, a chance here for now. The 2040. See Fonseca, he's starting to stick his nose into this picture.
trying to stick his nose in there. So is Danny Cochran, and now starting to see some drivers being stacked side by side. Shelley survives that attempt from John Forbes and actually assists the 98 to go for an attempt pass on Vincent Sora in the 15, as the 11 worked about 3 laps in a row trying to attempt to get by Shelley, and instead it might backfire for the 11 machine, as Ollie Fonseca able to slot himself just ahead by a nose in front of the 11 machine. And there we go. I mean, Ollie Fonseca making the inside lane work as Vincent Sora trying to retaliate back to get by Shelley.
And Shelley doing a great job to make that pass. I mean, yeah, he really worked the outer groove of 1 and 2, found the room for the run down here into 1 and 2, got to the inside of Vincent Sora and made it happen. Now Vincent Sora going to try to do something similar here to Isaac Shelley back on him, but just all this racing going on. Jared Talmadge is saying, I'm going to see you guys later right now. He's almost opened up about a second gap. And the one thing I've noticed from him, he has not swayed away from that first seam. He's really stuck right to it, right in that middle groove around 1 and 2.
And a lot of drivers as a big move down to the inside, going to be going with a stacked 3 wide down into turn number 3. John Forbes forcing the issue, not able to really do anything there. If anything, it hurts Vincent Sora as drivers get into the outside wall, scrubbing it to the 2 of Danny Cochran. But for the 11 of John Forbes, I mean, he's going right back to this game plan that's been for all this season, all of last season, that allowed the 11 to win 3 championships in a row. And that is be aggressive, dive down low, and try to make these passes work, where his aggression kind of spooks his competition more than anything else. And these drivers here tonight, they are keeping their foot down and not allowing these dive bomb moves to work here so far tonight.
You know, I think that is a very good point. You know, at some point, you got to put your foot down as a competition and say, I'm not going to back down. We're going to wreck. You know, that's kind of the thing you got to say. And, you know, John is an aggressive driver, but he's made it work for those reasons. And I think that's why he continues to do those moves. But at some point, I think those moves do have a negative outcome. So we'll have to see if that, you know, shows up here tonight, because it's just a very tough track to race at. But definitely still a very smart driver. I think Forbes will play this smart early.
Now with all those passes that were going on from second back to fourth, it's now starting to accordion backwards to enable some other passes deeper in the field. Currently one of those drivers under attack for a quick moment was Ethan Smith, and we're just seeing the accordion effect of drivers further on back kind of getting opportunities to make passes, because drivers have to back off, or they're seeing a chance to go for a pass and it's not working as well as they would hope. Here's the 16 of Joshua Kanata, who currently has only moved up 1 position. But talking to the 16, he did not feel very confident on pace here tonight as he entered this evening 3rd in points. He's going to need a great night and maybe some mistakes from Jared Talmadge if he wants to go for a championship. But Mr. Consistent just trying to stay on track and see what tonight turns into. It's still really early, just 13 laps in of 150 laps this evening, as seeing more puffs of smoke, so drivers grazing the wall.
Definitely a lot of grazing of that wall as they're flirting with disaster on the exits of these corners. But yeah, I can understand Joshua Kanata's concern, you know, and just not really knowing what's going to come here at Phoenix, because this track sometimes, you know, personally as a driver myself, I felt that same feeling here at this track. It can just get numb almost, and just you run in a line, you can't find clean air. Everybody's trying to really make the same speed around here, so it's really hard to make a difference as a driver around a track like this. And it can just be a place where you just want to come out of here with the best you can do. So I think right now Kanata up 1 spot from, you know, where he started at. He'll like that, but I think he'll be looking to maybe make that way into the top 10 as this run continues on.
You got a couple of drivers that are trying to make big moves deeper in the field. You got the 3 machine of Thomas Green and the 25 of Cody Reed, both hit with penalties to start this evening off and at the end of the line after their shenanigans coming to the end of Talladega and running into one another. The admins team, hey, you guys have to start in the back after those 2 the aggressive moves worked over the line to competitive integrity. And so both seeing the 25 and the 3, this is probably one of the worst tracks you could have asked for to get an end of the line penalty for either one of them. But for Cody racing for his best of the rest championship, well, Thomas Green, he still settles in 17th position, and it's looking rough for the 3, who still is trying to make big moves forward. It's just he's stalled out in 17th position.
And yeah, like you said, Sam, this is probably one of the worst tracks, if not the worst, to get an end of a line penalty. It is a hard to climb forward, but the biggest thing that I think these drivers need to take away from this is They have a long race ahead of them, no stage points. If there was stage points involved with this, that EOL would be a killer for losing out on those for sure. Just you can already see 18 laps into this event, Reed and Green not very far, really have marched their way up as far as they probably would like. So it's definitely one of those situations where they're just got to take their time. Points are not paid out till lap 150 or when the checker flag technically comes out. So we'll see how they can do once they get there, but it's definitely a situation where you don't want to start out back at Phoenix.
Seeing some changes up front. That's Ollie Fonseca able to get by Isaac Shelley, and looking at drivers' last laps being placed down. One of your fastest drivers was Ollie Fonseca. Then it would have been the fastest driver was Vincent Sora, to Jared Talmadge, then Ollie being the third fastest of those that are inside of the top 5. Shelley's starting to really waver currently as that 98, trying to find a way to find some extra pace. But I mean, this is already where Shelley usually lines up. He's got the great qualifying pace, and then it's just hold as much positions as you can before those faster drivers catch up to him and are just ultimately faster in the long run.
So impressive from the 24 Ollie Fonseca. I mean, a heck of a job from 5th to 2nd here and running great lap times. Right now, looks like he's going to be trying to close down to that leader, Jared Talmadge, right now, just under a second back from him. So we'll watch those lap times and monitor how that's all going. But a great group of drivers right here from 6th really on up to 2nd. I mean, all of them very, very quick. And the one I've been watching a little bit, who's been probably one of the quickest cars out there, Danny Cochran is too, is going for the move right here on John Forbes. He won this race not too long ago as he win a championship. So this guy knows how to get around this place.
Yeah, won that back in season 3, as that race was dominated by Mark Whitley. A pit road strategy call enabled the 2 to get the track position and win that race. And I think for Danny, he's one of those drivers that recognizes that it's so important to get better track position later on in the race, but at least stay close to the leaders to give yourself a chance. And we know pit stops are going to happen. Drivers are bound to make a mistake during those pit stops. It's how can you take advantage? And the 2's already proven that he can take advantage if people make mistakes.
Definitely got to take advantage of those mistakes at any time you can get them, and he definitely took advantage of the mistake of pit road there to win that championship. And so you got to do your Phoenix. So right now, he's just trying every little thing to make John look, and he's going to look to the inside. Just make the 11 uncomfortable. Maybe make him make the mistake for you to allow you to make that move. You're not really going to be able to make the pass diving to the inside like that, in my opinion. You're really just trying to almost make the driver think you're going to do something you're not. So definitely going to be fun to watch that battle. And Vincent Sora even ahead of this to the 15 right here. He's trying to get by the 98. Shelley is right now. That 24 Fonseca, he is marching away from these guys. The only driver on the track last time by to be in the 27-second bracket was him and Mark Ross back in 15.
I've seen some of those drivers further on back that once it gets to the super long runs, the drivers have been overly protecting their tires to where they can try to steal some positions back. As you're right on board with Vincent Sora, currently runs in 4th place. For Vincent Sora, trying to gain one of those spots back. He's down 1 from where he qualified. He qualified 3rd here this evening. You're seeing those grazes of the wall, and Shelley just flirting too much to the outside. That graze wasn't a simple one. Saw the sparks. That has lost the time and ground. And Vincent Sora's trying to pounce on it. He's in the better position for 15, down into turn number 3, but ultimately didn't have the pace out of exit number 2. He's got to attempt once again, and here's the fight of you try to carry up as much speed, but Zach the Dogleg, one of the big factors of this track, that even if you get a bad exit out of turn 4, your fight's not over just yet.
That's for sure, yeah. And I've even seen these guys, they're fighting the wheel through that dog leg, trying to especially take that apron flat. That time there, the 15 completely losing the rear end down there and having to pedal it a little bit. So just showing you got to really make sure the tires are underneath you here. And we're seeing a decent amount of fall off already. So this is really, really cool to see from Phoenix. I was kind of worried that we wouldn't get that fall off with the nighttime conditions. But with about a second already of fall off, we're seeing some decent racing, but very still tough to pass. That is the one thing you'll see the most. And while we're all watching this, Fonseca is almost there. He is 4/10 behind Talmadge, and he is closing in the gap.
Ever so slightly, and that's kind of the tough part when you're the leader is what is the pace that you want to set? Are you going quick early and then saving your tires for when you get caught? Or are you saving immediately, or are you overcooking your tires? There are a lot of windows when you're the lead driver. You got all this clean air. where you kind of have to play chess with yourself on how do I make sure I don't overdrive, even though I've got all the air that I could need, and it's all on me to keep this position now.
It is tough to really tell how to pace yourself out front. And I mean, he picked it up a last time with that lap time. We'll see this time by here what he's able to put down. Is this going to be a 28.167 to Ollie's 28.099? So we're seeing almost a tenth of a second difference there, just under that. So Fonseca continuing to close it down, but the closer he does get, the tougher this is going to get. I mean, we've seen Vince Sorbin trying to ground the 98 of Fonseca or Shelley for multiple laps. Same for Cochran on Forbes. It is tough. You can be quicker than the driver ahead of you, but it is not easy to get around them.
Two drivers with completely different sides of a coin stories entering this season. You had Jared Talmadge winning the race opener, and Ollie Fonseca starting the season off on probably one of the worst notes you possibly could. He was practically last in points after the first 3 races of the season, had to fight and claw for the rest of the regular season. It came down to Las Vegas, that last race of the regular season for this 24 to even make the chase, does make it, and he is trying to prove, hey, I made this march. I'm not just going to be a regular season driver that, oh wow, I just made the chase. He wants to prove that he is worthy of being here, as Fonseca is catching up now within 0.3 to our leader. One driver that started out well here tonight, that's Ethan Smith. He fell off after a big mistake off the exit of turn 2 to initially start this race. And Zach, this 00, he had the quick pace early on, but 30 laps in, it seems like he's starting to lose touch to that lead pack.
It does seem to be like he's losing a little bit of time here. And, you know, look at someone like Sipes starting to get a little bit away from him. And also Kanata, he's got up to 9th now. So I'm thinking Joshua Kanata is definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable as he's worked his way through this field. And his lap times right now for Joshua, I mean, that time by, I mean, he was pretty much the quickest car on track. So great stuff from the 16 here. If he can continue his march forward, exactly what he needs. But Ethan Smith definitely doing the opposite of what right now the 16 is.
Trying your best to find opportunities to gain time. Others are just trying to minimize the amount of time that you're losing. Seeing that 00 trying to march his way forward and claw back any positions he can. Joshua Kanata enters tonight 3rd in points, as this season he's only had 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s of the 10 races that have been ran so far. And seeing this 16, he was one of those drivers that always comes into, once he makes the chase, the confidence level is never there. He came in with the lowest confidence of anyone entering this chase on confidence scale to win the championship with a 1 out of 10 confidence scale. But Zach, the consistency, we give him the nickname of Mr. Consistent because he's always there. I feel like Kanata almost makes every either Final 4, Final 6, whatever the final number, to have a chance to race for a championship. The 16's there because of his consistency.
It is exactly right, Sam. His consistency is everything. He does it in multiple leagues too, man. He's so good at staying out of trouble. He's just there when the checker flag waves, and I think that also is going to benefit him too a little bit here with no stages. So it's always I think a helping hand to a driver like that that's more consistent at the end of races and kind of, you know, progressing, not never declining really in the race. So that's really good to see from him. And this teammate here of Nick Crawford, he's trying to bounce his way from starting 20th. He's got his way all the way to 12th. So he's done a better job than Reed and Green have technically starting, you know, outside the top 20s here to get this far up, but still a lot of work for the 74 to do. And he's definitely got it cut out for him.
After returning of a fun vacation weekend for the 74, got to go out and celebrate with Cedric Hunter's wedding. And I know the 74 didn't get as much practice in for tonight's race, but currently trying his best to get inside of the top 10, runs 12th. Currently is Nick Crawford with that lo-fi latte machine and trying to find a way to get by Samuel Garcia if he can. Here's a driver who was probably the biggest dark horse that needed or the driver that came in as the biggest underdog, I should say. Noah Steele, yet to find himself getting a top 5 this season. You looked at the stats, he was a driver that really needed to just find an upgrade in speed. And all the tracks that were lined up in front of him weren't really in his wheelhouse of his favorites to go to, as the 8 machine of Steele able to get by Morales for 17th position. But this 8 Budweiser machine, a lot of work. And he might need some caution help to get back into this fight.
I definitely might need some help for sure, and we'll see if that help comes at any point right now as we're checked back here to the 20th position. This is Tyler Dingler and 29 and Logan Breaky back here battling just inside this top 20. And right now, you know, the thing is, you know, you'd say, oh man, they're right back here in the top 20, you know, back here in 20th and 19th. they're running about 2/10, 3/10 off the leaders. I mean, it's so close throughout the whole entire field. There's guys in the top 5 that are running lap times comparable to these guys. So it just shows you how important track position can be. As I think we lost Tyler Dingler there for a second, so he comes back now. Luckily, we want to see him disconnect, but yeah, it's it's so tough to mark your way forward, even when you're running lap times similar to the guys up ahead.
Eric Stamp and Ryan Ferraro, last drivers out there on track, getting their screen time as we bounce forward. 5 on track, 99 on our ticker. There's going to be Michael Miller, who we saw with the right number last week at Talladega, as he thought he had a chance to get into victory lane and had Joshua Stovall trying to give him the push and kind of giving payback after Miller helped Stovall win last season at Talladega. Wasn't the case. Got caught up in those late race incidences. But this number 5 on track, 99 on our ticker, Michael Miller, 15th currently, and following 2 drivers that are going to continue their march forward, Cody Reed, Thomas Green, they will be inside of the top 10, I feel like, by the end of this night. The question is, at what point will they finally cross over that threshold? And seeing other drivers trying to find their way forward. I mean, we got the 82 here. Sipes. I mean, Sipes is one of those drivers, short tracks. This 99 sometimes can find some sneaky speed. I mean, excuse me, 82 can find some sneaky speed for himself, and he's doing so right now. One of the fastest drivers on track currently is Sipes.
Yeah, I've been watching the lap times. He's pretty much been the quickest car, and he at one point was almost 4 seconds back. He's about 3.2 back, so he's cut into the gap. But the only problem I worry about for him, he's now closed into the back of this little bit of a train here with Danny Cochran in the 2. And I can tell you one thing, passing is almost, for a lot of these guys up here, virtually impossible if you do a good job in that second groove. Unless you give up your right rear quarter panel, passing on the bottom, you're going to have to use somebody up. It is that close and just that hard to get the run off the bottom compared to this top side that you can just carry all that momentum around here. So Vincent has been trying everything in his power in the 50. I think he's got to the inside of this 98 uncountable many times, but just can't get it done. It's just so hard to do.
Yeah, and we've been following this league since its initial start, all the way back in season 1, where we got to see Danny Cochran take that inaugural win at Daytona. And throughout all the seasons, we've seen these drivers grow and their maturity show. And right now, we are seeing drivers putting on some ridiculously clean racing, where I feel like if it was back in season 3, season 2, they would have been used up already. And Vincent Sora right now trying to get by Shelley as cleanly as he can. But you can kind of tell the frustration by the 15. It's just as miserable right now. But they do not want to go back to the old ways of just wiping each other out.
That's for sure. Yeah, you don't want to hurt your stuff either. So I think Vincent's going to be pretty smart about this. I mean, he usually seems to be like one of the more clean guys when it comes to making passes anyways. So we'll see how he's able to work over Shelley. I mean, and even from looking at, Fonseca, he worked his way all the way up to Talmadge, got right there to him, and kind of rode there for a little bit, and now he's starting to fall back. And Talmadge is starting to show that he has got the most pace of anybody right here on this long run. And it really, at the end of the day, comes down to just that clean air. I really think a lot of these guys, you put a lot of these guys from the top 6, top 8 out front, they're going to be able to control this race. So Jarrett put himself there by putting it on pole, and he's done an excellent job of managing it right now and starting to reopen that gap back up.
Got a couple of drivers going to be making green flag pit stops for themselves. Tyler Dangler made a drive through pit road, as well as Eric Stamp going to get a little bit of service done for themselves. Big thing for Tyler, it looked like he was still trying to figure out how to get the problem of blinking figured out. Eric Stamp, big slide. He's deciding to get some repairs done as well, get some new tires for these drivers. We're 47 laps in of 150. I was given the number of around 70 to 75 laps on fuel. So if you're focusing on saving fuel, you should be able to try to turn this race into a one-stop. But it's the tire factor. When do you want to pit? Because, Zach, I'm looking at the fall-off, and yes, we're around that 1.5 second marker for some drivers, maybe a little bit under. I'm curious on who's tempted to take that, what we call an undercut pit stop, or do you even turn this race into a 2-stop?
It is a good question. I mean, there is fall off there for a 2-stop to be somewhat usable. I don't know if there's enough. And the thing that concerns me with that fall off is it really happens virtually in the first 20 laps. You really lose a lot of lap time. You lose about a full second in that first 20 laps. Then from that next 20 to 30 to 50, you're going to lose 2-3 tenths of time compared to those laps. And oh, as I say that, Fonseca is coming to pit road, so two-stop strategy it being involved here for him for sure.
Yeah, that is right around that 50 lap marker. You can pit a little bit sooner if you'd prefer, because you have the extra fuel to go for this two-stop strategy. And for Ali Fonseca, taking the gamble, why not? And the main reason why, well, he's a part of one of the biggest gambling teams when it comes to a chance of tire and fuel strategies. That's Cannon Fire Racing, where you find yourself with Cody Reed, Joshua Kanata, and also Nick Crawford, usually in that camp, throwing out different strategies a little bit over his pit stall, had to back up. That's going to be a loss of some slight time. Another driver joining in with Ali Fonseca, though, it's Trent Jump. That's a driver I wasn't expecting to see go for the two-stop, but we're seeing more drivers attempting this.
It's definitely, pit road starting to get very, very busy from a few of these guys. And, you know, I am questioning it just a little bit. Like I said, the fall-off happens pretty early, and then it's not as dramatic from that point on. So I don't know if you'll see that huge gains you'll see from some of these undercuts. But I will say, if a caution plays out a certain way in the sequence of these yellows, these pit stops happen, you can cycle to the front with an early undercut here. So I think this strategy is very viable, and we'll see how it works out for him. Definitely feeling like the tires are going to be much more important. As right there, the 3 at Tom Screen able to get, it looks like around the 50 of Samuel Garcia now.
Talked about how long was it going to take to get inside of the top 10. Well, for the 3 machine, took them 51 laps from last up to going to be 10th position. Got a little bit of help on some simple passes with drivers going into pit road. Mark Morales also going to be another driver that pits here, going for the two-stop strategy. Now we'll see what the time difference will be on those that are pushing their tires to the max and those that are being patient. Curious if we can bring up the weather and what's that's looking like. I know we're under the lights, not expecting a huge change on the weather side of things, but we're in the desert. It's nighttime. It can cool off as our air temperature is at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp at 79 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind staying at a pretty steady 10 miles per hour. And for the humidity, just at 39%. So not a big change, but the track temp, Zach, it's now bouncing up and down, 79 to 80. It's going back and forth, and those small changes could be helping or hurting some drivers out there on track.
That's for sure. I tell you, it's definitely a condition that is interesting here. It gets really cool here at Phoenix at nighttime, and just that desert condition can really change up the racing on the track. And we're seeing definitely some good lap times being turned from a few. And right now, our top 2 are really the ones that are putting down the burners. Right now, they're seeing about 28.2s from still front, while some of these other drivers, even John Forbes, I think that 11 kind of struggling right now at that 28.5. So starting to see a good bit of fall off as ever since the 15 Vince Sore cleared that 98 of Isaac Shelley, he's starting to cut a little bit into Talmadge. So I think right now the 27 and the 15 look to be our strongest on this longest run.
Here we find the 11 of John Forbes rocking the kind of subway colors of the yellow and green gridless machine. Gridless Graphics, our white flag sponsor here for the ISRC, Lariat Productions Truck Series. Other great sponsors that help out. We want to say thank you to the title sponsor of Lariat Productions, also to the Armadillo Motorsports team for our Lucky Dilla Award. If we get a caution and a driver is a lap down, they will be given their lap back and they'll be our Lucky Dilla. Also want to say thank you to Morecast for being another major sponsor. Gridless Graphics for our white flag, and from us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you to Whiplash Simcams for being our Whiplash Simcams biggest mover of the race. We've seen a lot of big movers all around, but in our first third of tonight's race, currently up 13 positions, it's Nick Crawford. Again, getting a little bit of assistance with drivers going for the two-stop strategy, but hey, up 13 spots, started 20th, and now inside of the top 10. This is a great run for the 74 team.
That is excellent job from him through the first 58 laps to go from 20th to 7th. Of course, like you said, helped a little bit from some of these drivers going on to the two-stop strategy early here. But I think the biggest thing for him, he's got about 1.1 seconds up to Justin Sipes of some clean air. So this could allow him to close into that group up there, because really he's from 3rd on to 6th. It is pretty much only about a second separating that group right there. So they're all stacked up. If I'm Crawford, I'm focusing on trying to get them before these first pit stops happens. And you never know, he could be fighting for a podium.
Here's what our Whiplash Simcam's biggest mover of the race looks like inside of his cockpit. What he's focusing on and diving right down that yellow line. Kind of different from what we've seen some of our front runners doing, but Crawford really hugging that yellow line through 1 and 2, and then trying to also stay pretty low through 3 and 4. So looks like for Crawford, it's cut the distance. That's his main goal.
And last time by, his lap times were good, so we'll see if this one is able to produce as good, because last time it was quicker than the group ahead of him. Again, a little bit quicker than that group ahead, but we'll see if he can continue to close that gap down. So that is definitely one thing I'm watching. Is right now Forbes, I mean, he has got so much pressure. That 2-0 Danny Cochran has been there for so long, and Forbes just seems like having a tough time getting up off these corners, not able to carry the momentum like he wants. So this 11 definitely just trying to hold on until we get to this first pit stop. As you can see there, the rear end just kicking out now. The 2 of Cochran going to take a chance here, cutting the dog leg. This might be the 2's best opportunity. He's going to have to drive it in deep here to 3 and 4.
The teammates battling back and forth, and it's going to be seeing the 2 of Danny Cochran trying to at least keep it side by side off the exit of turn 2, give him the best chance with the better positioning off into the entry of turn 3. And for Forbes, continues to fight on, but can the rear end stay stable off the exit of 4, where he's really been slipping and sliding, and he does keep it stable. But Cochran, he just continues to fight, and the teammates from that racing team of Cochran, Sora, Forbes Racing continue to go back and forth, and Danny Cochran down to the apron. What a dive bomb move, but it just doesn't stick, and Forbes holds steady off the exit of the corner.
Well, that was a valiant effort from him. He tried it. It didn't work, but the biggest thing I think for him, he did a good job of not just running completely over into the 11th lane. He kind of gave John the ability to, not make any contact there. So that could have been a lot worse, but good job there trying that. And he knew that he has to clear him. It's really all you can do. If you don't get clear through the center of the corner, you are not making the pass down the straightaway.
And I'm curious for teammates in that situation, as we're seeing Josh Kanata now going to be under fire from Thomas Green, who this 3 is just looking like a rocket ship right now, running very similar lap times to our top 2 that are just been the fastest so far. And what makes this even more impressive is Thomas Green is passing drivers while putting on times that are close or comparable to our leaders. But I'm curious, Zach, same scenario where you're seeing the 11 and the 2 battling side by side. I know it's tough to give up positionings because you feel like you won't get it back, but if you've got a teammate that's faster, maybe let him go, fight the driver ahead, and you might be able to take a position away and help both drivers in that scenario.
I think that same way, Sam. It's tough, though, in the mindset of some of these drivers. They know track position so well, and some drivers don't give anything. It's all about take for them and not give. In my opinion, if you could be like that teammate racing, it can come back and pay off. I mean, we see it all the time, and I guess you could go back to like a Formula 1 reference here. They do driver swaps, and sometimes if you're not able to get that pass done, you swap the drivers back after that and say, you take the position back. I couldn't get the pass done. It's just we're both stuck here. So it is one of those questions you got to ask yourself, but I think for now they're just going to be battling it out because I think they want to hold on to those spots as it is continuing to stack up for those spots right now.
And Thomas Green, once again, able to continue to move his way forward. Now able to stay in front of Kanata. Now going to go after Ethan Smith for 8th place. He's the 3 machine. And Thomas Green just continues to make these marches forward. Big reason why he's making these passes off the exit of turn 2 and kind of forcing the driver that he gets by to give him a huge bump on the straightaway on the back stretch. And the 3 machine continues to go forward. That's another pass made. And here is the time for Thomas Green. What pace does he have come to these later stages of these laps? We are in the next 10 laps or less. We're going to see a major batch of drivers making their pit stops for what should be their one and only one if we stay green. That's going to be all of our drivers inside of the top 15 that are expected to make their first and only pit stop of the night. And for Thomas Green, he's got clean air. He's got about 2.5 seconds to Nick Crawford ahead of him. This is our time to see what speed is there for the 3, or did he already use it all with the passes he's already made?
That's a good question. I mean, he's been so quick making the passes that I've been so impressed. I think he should be able to close into that grouping up ahead of him. I mean, Crawford was able to do it. I think him and Crawford, pretty similar pace. It's just Crawford's now caught the back-to-back creep also. So it is pretty much a logjam from 3rd on back to 7th right now. We'll see if Thomas Green can make it back to 8th.
Here's Cody Reed, who was trying to follow suit with Thomas Green, went with the opportunity of pitting. Speaking of pit stops, Michael Miller now going to go into pit road just a little bit sooner than I would like. If you're out this late, you have to get to the halfway zone, even if your tires are falling away. Not going to be the case, as Isaac Shelley also goes into pit road. It might be a factor that these drivers feel like they can make it from here with fuel. I know their pace has fallen off. That can allow them to save a little bit more extra on fuel, and Shelley as well as Miller both making their pit stops now.
They must feel very confident on fuel to be pitting this early for sure. I mean, and like you said, Sam, I mean, you come in early here to take that advantage of the undercut for the fresher tires, and still, if you're able to make it on fuel, the lap times even out so much at the end of the run. I think it's mostly about your driving. So undercut here might not be the worst thing if the fuel numbers really work out.
As Shelly's hoping to get a clean run off the exit, and drivers that have already pitted are now getting by those that are making their stops. Ali Fonseca, first driver of those that have already completed their stops, but he pitted 20 laps ago. Looking at Ali Fonseca's last time to our leader's last time, there's just about a half-second difference at this moment. Ollie's still in the advantage, but once those tires switch with these pit stops are about to go down, 24 and 46, also the 25, going to be under fire quickly with their pace. But the driver that's been up front, he's led every lap here tonight, grabbed the pole, and he's trying to continue a trend that's happened 3 out of the 4 last times that we ran here. Driver that gets pole leads the most laps. That is a trend that has happened so many times. The only issue, you're not always the driver that wins the race. Looking at other drivers that have done similar things. Season 3, Mark Whitley winning, going for the championship, as here's a battle going on for 3rd place. Justin Sipes faster than the 11. John Forbes is really floundering right now as Vincent Sora goes into pit road to get service done. Big wiggle there as Forbes trying to hold back this 82 machine. As Nick Crawford also getting into the fight. We'll talk about those stats of leading the most laps here after this battle is over. But Zach, John Forbes, he is struggling right now as drivers continue to pounce and take advantage as now our leader into pit road.
Forbes is definitely struggling for sure. As you said, like you said, Derek Talmadge on the pit road here. I think smart call for him to come down. He's answered to the call of the 15 because he doesn't want to see him jump in front of him, because he was running him down very quickly there at the end of that last run. But John Forbes, I am so surprised to see how much of a struggle it's been for him. He is really dropping back here a ton. After he's got past from Cochran, it's been a struggle, and look at that. Now he's got the 74 and the 82 come to pit road. If I'm Forbes, I think they got to get the pit road next time or stretch this out.
I mean, at this point, I think you stretch it out as far as you can go. You hope that the tire advantage rewards you greatly later on in the run. But at this current moment, we're right on board with the 2 of Danny Cochran, who's in the lead position. And this too, trying everything to make sure he stretches his fuel out to the halfway zone as he is now going into pit road. Is the 2 machine. He makes it to the halfway zone. That's exactly where we wanted to be. Same's going to be John Forbes as he goes into pit road. Driver who stays out, it's Joshua Kanata in the 16. He's able to go an extra lap.
Oh man, this is interesting. If they're out here worried about making it as far as these guys did in the clutch to get to this point, that really concerns me for the likes of Vincent Sora and Jarrett Talmadge, who came in on 72 in lap 73. So if anything, you're 16 at Kanata, you're looking the most well off here. And Logan Brakey, I think he's also still out here. So we're seeing a lot of these guys who are farther back able to save some fuel here and stretch out this run.
Make sure you don't get a penalty, and one of our contenders did. Chase contender Noah Steele, black flag off the exit of pit road. He has to do another drive-through around, and that is a nightmare for a driver because this is one of the longest pit road stalls you have to go around, and you're only able to go 45 miles per hour. But there's a caution being thrown, and it's Tyler Dangler with the issue. I take that back, actually. Who was it? It's the 00 of Ethan Smith. That was in 19th that brings up the caution. Oh, this changes everything.
Oh, this changes a ton. I mean, right here opens up the door, I think, for everybody who pitted there a little bit earlier to make their fuel mileage issue a little less of a concern. But man, the 00 there, unfortunately losing it. And I think that was just right after the pit stop for him. So them cold tires, I've seen a few drivers in practice really struggle with those, and it seemed to bite Ethan Smith there.
As he goes into pit road, gets service done, and when he exits out, just tries to get up to speed, and it does not work out for the 00. And for some drivers, greatly rewarded. Others, this this certainly does help out those that we were concerned about on, hey, they might be about 2 or 3 laps shy for making it. This now makes it a lot more doable, as here's going to be the run, the replay of what brought out the caution immediately out on track. Goes into the corner of turns 1 and 2. Exits out cleanly. I think it's off the exit turn 4 where we see the spin. But Zach, I mean, so easy to do, as Ethan Smith, this was not what he wanted to be seen, bringing out the first caution of the night.
No, he definitely didn't want to be in this position for sure. And just, yeah, his cold tires, I think, really just biting the 00 there. And You're so used to the worn, old, warm tires, and you would think, man, worn tires, they'd be much harder to get off the exit. No, surprisingly, those cold tires, especially when it's a cold night like this here at Phoenix, that track is just cold, and the tires just don't heat up quickly, and they're just very hard and stone-like that don't really give. So not a lot of grip to be there given, and unfortunately, Smith is going to pay the price for that and go around, and it's going to keep him trapped a lap down. I think here is no, he'll be back on the lead lap, I believe.
He should be on the lead lap as all drivers that were trying to get pit stalls done. I believe it's going to be the 91, Mark Morales, that's going to get that Lucky Dog award, or the Lucky Dilla award, I should say. And Ethan Smith, the timing of the yellow, he was still on the lead lap when the caution flag came out. Actually, I take that back. I think he's taking the waiver out for himself. But Zach, I mean, I'm looking at some of these drivers. We know Vincent Soares, Jared Talmadge, they ran only 1 or 2 laps under green flag conditions. Michael Miller is going to be in a really tough spot. He's on the oldest set of tires out of anyone. He's on 11 lap old tires, now going to be 12, about, I would say, 9 laps of green flag racing under his belt. It's everyone, though, that's from 4th on back. They're in a much better spot. They either just pitted, they got some of the freshest tires, or you're those that are just frustrated on the fact that you went for a 2-stop strategy and it just backfired terribly here.
Yeah, the 2-stop strategy backfired big time for those guys, but we'll see how it works out now with some fresh tires for them and a little bit older tires up front, but not many laps on them. So I think we'll see now if the fuel is the main concern.
Well, let's see if these drivers can keep it clean, keep it green. They were able to do so on the initial launch, but everyone now knows the importance of getting track position early. It's tough to make passes later on. How aggressive are you willing to be? As this is our first restart of the evening. First caution in the books, and it's time for race 2 of the chase for season 8 of the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series to get back underway. Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, the roar is on as Sora, huge launch for the 15 as he goes down into turn number 1.
You should see how hard this 15 will fight here for this lead position. He seems to kind of roll over for a few guys that first run. We'll see if the 15 fights, but right now it's a dogfight from Nick Crawford on back as they are stacking up off of 4, and they're in the wall.
And the wall is going to be for some. Ollie Fonseca willing to make the big diving move to the inside to force it 3 wide with Thomas Green and Miller, Green to the outside wall, and caution is back out.
Oh man, big moves being made and big consequences happening right there is Michael Miller in the middle of all that as Fonseca went from the top groove to the bottom with a very aggressive move, and unfortunately I think the 88 or sorry the 99 Michael Miller couldn't keep this truck in that second groove, washes up into the 3.
I mean, it's so tough when you're in that middle groove. This truck just naturally wants to send it high, and as you see here, Ollie Fonseca just dives it down low. Miller tries to give space, but there's no space to be given. Drives that right up to that 3 machine of Thomas Green, and all that hard work, throw it out the window. Instead of being inside of the top 10, he'll start at the rear of the field. And you see other drivers in front scraping the wall. The 3 so confident, but it's the 24 of Ollie Fonseca taking a note, taking a book, a little bit of a note from the 11 of John Forbes. Take the chance when it's there. Thomas Green not rewarded running on the outside.
Almost wonder if it was that situation where it kind of spooked the 99. He was turning in thinking he's going to be the car on the inside, and you have someone quickly get that inside, car inside call. You're going to kind of flinch and kind of take that a little bit of that wheel out of the race truck, and it's going to probably go up the racetrack. So not surprised to see that, but aggressive moves being made, and Fonseca not only did he gain a ton from that, but he went from, I believe, about 10th to 5th in that restart.
Well, you saw the 19 drive on by. That's going to be our lucky Dilla of this restart. Tyler Dangler in the 19, who also runs in 19th position. Going to give us now 20 drivers on the lead lap. Thomas Green able to get his repairs done and also stay on the lead lap. But congratulations to Tyler Dangler for getting the Lucky Dilla award. Drivers are about to be stacking up for this next restart. I think we'll give a chance at a crank it up for this next restart. But Zach, I mean, we already saw the big bold moves. I'm not going to be surprised if we see more cautions get created now because of how aggressive everyone has to be to take every position possible.
I agree, Sam. I think you're going to see some big moves because as the tires start to wear, that's when the passes get much more tougher. I think if you don't get the pass done in the first 5 laps, you're pretty much stuck there unless that driver makes a mistake or you just kind of use them up. So it's one of those situations where you got to get stuff while the iron is hot. So let's see who's willing to risk it.
Vincent Sora going to be the lead driver, control driver for this restart. This will be on the inside lane. Again, want to say thank you to all the incredible sponsors with Layer Art Productions, Armadillo Motorsports for the Lucky Dillo Award, Morecast, Gridless Graphics for being the white flag sponsor, and all the camera shots you're about to see with this Crank It Up, all from Whiplash Sim Cams. Go to Whiplash Sim Cams on Facebook and see all the incredible angles that you can have for your own sim racing experience. Enjoy the show, crank it up. It's green once again here at Phoenix. We are back. Caution flag is out, and it's for the 00 of Ethan Smith. Brought out our first caution, and it is a hard contact for the 00 this go around. Not required damage, but it sent him to pit road immediately. As here's what happened to Ethan on this initial restart, as everyone was kind of stacking up off the exit of turn number 2. See everyone, and there's a small tap. Martin gets into the wall. That rear end just tail slaps the 00 to the inside, and just double contact into the inside wall. And these trucks was being notified. They do not handle damage well here in Phoenix. You're going to see here just a simple, you think you're okay, and then your race is over.
Yeah, that is that is the worst timing for that situation, because if you're Ethan, you're literally just coming up off the corner, just going to come up right behind the 91 and slot in behind him and, you know, carry your momentum out to the wall. And as the 91 hits the wall, his speed is going to drop dramatically. You're going to hit that quarter panel, and that is just worst place, worst timing for that 00 to be right there, and that got him, unfortunately, out of this race right now.
And for all these drivers, a chance to recoup, get some damage repair if you need it. That's helpful for Mark Morales and Thomas Green, that both need to get a little extra damage repair for themselves, as the rest of the field, they pace around for a few more laps before we go back to green flag racing. And I think for us, with that quick caution, quick replay, I think this might be the perfect time for us to take an official commercial break. It has been a pleasure to give you the call of tonight's race, the second race of 5 for the chase for the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series. These drivers have been putting on a great show. We were able to have that long green flag run for the first half of this race, but the second half, how well can we keep it together? We'll find out as we take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Phoenix Racing. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Contact and damage as we get another caution flag being thrown. And it is 3 of some of the fastest drivers so far here tonight. Vincent Sora, Ali Fonseca, and John Force making contact with themselves as they were going through the dogleg. It just did not work out at all for the 3 of those drivers. Big hurt goes to the 24 of Ali Fonseca as well for the 15 of going to be Vincent Sora. As you see here, side-by-side racing of John Forbes and Ali Fonseca. They've been the 2 most aggressive drivers of the night. But the big thing we got to watch, going through the dog leg and the exit of the dog leg, Zach, just everyone trying to make the big move. But for Ollie, there's just nowhere really to go as Vinny holds his line and the 24 drives through him and the 11 finishes up the job.
Yeah, this is a tough situation. I mean, if you're Vincent Sora, you're trying to make the pass on the 27 ahead, so you're inside of him, losing a little bit of momentum off the corner, so they're going to have the run here. You see Vincent Sora slides up. They're going to have a run here on him. Fonseca's going to find that middle lane, but just not enough room there with that 11 underneath him, and that's just a little bit of forcing the issue, I guess you could say, and unfortunately it's going to catch them out. But somehow, out of all of this, everybody escapes through this. When this was happening, I thought it was disaster. When you normally have, cars in the top 5 spin in front of the field and come back across the surface, it's usually disaster, and that could have been race over, but they somehow both 360 on forward.
Yeah, as the drivers up front are about to go green, big kudos to the rest of the field. You got to feel bad for Kanata, who we saw get running himself into the outside wall to avoid that carnage. Vincent Sora, tempers were flying after that incident. He is frustrated. And the 15, it makes sense. He's back in 13th position now. A lot of work to go forward. But for Danny Cochran, Jared Talmadge, let's get ready for some more green flag racing. Can we keep it clean and green, or the cautions keep on getting bred? Because it is time for the 2 machine already gone as the rest of the field tries to run him down.
Great start again from Danny Cochran. Is now we're going to see Jared Talmadge, John Forbes go side by side. Can Forbes make something happen this run? Will he figure out the mistakes from that first run to make the balance of the truck work better? We'll see here quickly. Is this 3 wide for 4th on back is Crawford to the inside of Shelley as the 82 of Sipes goes around the top.
Ripping the top, trying to carry the momentum as well as you can. As you're seeing Nick Crawford trying to find his way to move forward, and others as well. Can you find that little bit of extra speed? Vincent Sora did take tires under that last caution with his spin and slide. He's working his way forward and leading those that just got fresh rubber. There is an advantage that this 15 has, and it might go from bad luck to you've gotten blessed, because he is charging with all of this speed, but there's a wall in front of him, and that's first Logan breaking in the 29, and then the driver that got him spun around, Ali Fonseca ahead of him.
See how much that had lit a fire underneath him there, getting spun around from 3rd, but we'll see how it all works out. I mean, sometimes that could be a detrimental thing or a thing that really pushes the driver to go on and, perform even better. So we'll see what the 15 is able to do with them. A little fresher tires too. I think he needs to be smart here, not use up that freshness of those tires to the full, extent. They're washing up in front of him here. It's Fonseca. You can see right on board from him. He lost the front end right here trying to get around Reed.
Every aggressive move just gives another opportunity. As now Vincent Sora to the inside of Ali Fonseca. Fonseca, he's going to put the squeeze down on the 15, keeping him down on that yellow line as Ollie lets himself wash up just about a half a groove. Now the exit of the corner, they continue to stay side by side. Is the frustration going to mount up? Will there be clean racing? Will there be contact? The 15 seemed very frustrated over the radio, but he continues to try to make this pass as cleanly as he can, but forcing is Ali Fonseca. He's got to stay high as the 15 continues to march his way forward. As all this battling's happening, it's Danny Cochran still holding the lead over a pulsator of Jared Talmadge.
Tell you, Danny's going to be a tough one to get around. He looked quick on that first run of the race, just was really stuck behind the 11 of Forbes. If he can keep track position, this 2 might be going for his first win of the season. But right now, it is on. It is right now. Vincent Sora finally clears the 24 of Fonseca. He's going to be on the back bumper of Cody Reed. What does Fonseca do here, though? These 2 have been at it so far in this battle. We'll see if he gets aggressive once again.
Trying to stay on the outside corner now, not able to do so. It's going to be Vincent Sora still staying low because he's side by side with Cody Reed and the 25. Reed with his penalty that he carried into tonight. He had to start at the end of the line in the 25 As we know, the march his way into the top 10. Another driver who did that earlier was Thomas Green. Green has not been able to get his damage repair and recovery and speed. Still lingers in 19th position. But Vincent Sora just proving if you're able to make passes, it's going to be with fresh tires where you're able to make these big moves. As the 15 huge wiggle into Cody Reed. Well, will Reed give the bump down into the corner, and they all stack up into the entry of turn 3, but somehow they keep it all together.
Oh, and Reed actually big slide off the exit of 4 there, and he's going to lose a little bit of ground. But the yellow flag is out. Logan Brakey, it seems like, is around.
Logan Brakey, exit of the corner. He was trying to find a way to get by Mark Morales. Not able to do so, and spin out for the 29 off the exit of turn number 4. That's going to be a complete self-spin for himself. Almost contact between 29 and the 50 of Samuel Garcia, but another quick caution. And I'm looking at the field, Zach. A lot of drivers. I know track position is key. It's going to be important, but a lot of the drivers and crew, they still have, for some, 2 sets of tires in pit road to work with. Some have 3 sets still in pit road to work with. I'm curious on who, outside of the top 5, might come into pit road and take a set of tires.
Yeah, I think we saw Vincent Sora use them very well right there. Those tires seem to be firing off pretty good to get the passes done. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few takers here. Actually, yeah, we're seeing a few look to pit road, and we do have more and more people coming to pit road here. Even Vincent Sora's coming back, so I think that is a sign that he liked what he felt.
Yeah, I mean, exactly where I thought it was going to be. 5th on back, all deciding pit road is their destination, and it's a beautiful call because you're not, you're not feeling like you're giving up all the track position in the world, and you are close enough that if you're inside of the top 8, top 7, you can use those tires, at least get your positions back and be able to hold in a later on position if those drivers decide to pit in the next 5 to 10 laps.
This is going to get very, very interesting, folks. Get ready for this, because this is definitely set up more of a wild ending to this race. I mean, because again, they're gonna lose a decent little bit of track position, but we didn't see, like, there wasn't a crazy difference in tires there for these drivers, and that was a pretty big advantage that some of these guys had from that last restart. So I'm interested to see how this all works out.
And looking at the field, everyone's prepared and set for this next restart. It's going to be Vincent Sora, going to be that driver back in 12th position. So he's got a lot more work to gain these spots back, as other drivers that pitted under this previous caution, it's going to be Trent Jump with just 11 laps over the other drivers ahead of them. I like where Trenton's at. Kanata, Malik Kuntz, I think they're in a pretty good spot as we wait for the pace car lights to go off, and that will give us the indication of 1 lap to go. We have lost 1 driver. That's Eric Stamp, will be our one and only DNF so far here tonight. Ethan Smith still sits in pit road trying to get optional damage fixed up, as Thomas Green, another time into pit road, and that optional damage that 3 picked up from his incident earlier, it just is destroyed that truck to where I'm shocked he's still out there on track, but he is just trying to mentally stay out there just in case some of his competition gets wiped out.
That's right. Just try to stay on the lead lap, because if someone goes out there, gets a meatball flag, has to get required damage or something, you can recover some points from that. We seen it last week, a few guys that really made something out of nothing at Talladega. So we'll definitely see what Thomas can do, but definitely a tough position for that 30 truck to be put in, or 3 truck.
As we wait for green flag to be woven, Danny Cochran going to be on the inside lead driver. He's got his teammate of John Forbes directly behind him in the 11. Outside, it's Planet Sim Racing drivers of Talmadge and Shelley. Green flag is back out in the air. The 2 goes up. A little bit of a bang to the 27's front bumper as they head down into turn number 1. Cochran's clear, and the rest of the field, they're already 3-4 wide down into turn number 1 in the middle of this field.
Oh, it's getting spicy back there. Drivers are willing to risk it, and there's on the apron. So far back right now is John Forbes still fighting for second. This is grouping back here on the fresh tires that are making the big moves. Vincent Sora diving to the inside, but you got Fonseca and Crawford following in suit.
They are trying to use up those tires, but also up front, they're using each other up. As Jared Talmadge as well as John Forbes. They were getting into one another, but wreck further on back, it's Justin Sipes in the 82 with the spin around.
Just like that, 82 does go around, and that's a tough break, because Sipes was battling up there near the top 5, on that longer run in this race, and now going to be caught up here. I think a little bit of a fresh tire issue there for him, as he's going to get that truck loose as he spun out around that corner.
All on his lonesome, and away he goes. So he was trying to set up a pass to get by the 8 of Noah Steele. And fresh rubber, I mean, especially off the exit of turn 4, this is the corner where it matters so much on getting a good, clean exit and keeping your pace up. And at the same time, it's such a fine line that you have to cross on going as quick as you can, but also you can see what we just saw. You can quickly spin out.
That you definitely can. That is so tough, but he'll have to rebound from that. As now we'll see what is the strategy from other drivers here. As I believe only one driver looks like going to attempt to come down pit road this time, so not surprised to see those drivers stay out. Who continued is it looks like Malik Kuntz will be the first one to lead him down. Then from there, Thomas Green will lead.
And drivers with the oldest set of tires going to be those inside of our top 3: Danny Cochran, Jared Talmadge, John Forbes. On 29-lap old tires is Isaac Shelley in 4th place. And 15-lap old tires going to be Trenton Jump, Joshua Kanata, and Samuel Garcia. Mark Morales back in 12th, has 20-lap old tires. Rest of the field around 5-lap old tires, about 2 to 3 green lap runs underneath them. And looking at this field, we're closing in on 40 laps to go, and this was that zone that I talked about that really can change up a race. Where, yes, we've seen the switch up of Jared Talmadge. He's lost the lead. It's now in the hands of Danny Cochran. But with all of these pit stops for tires, this is the game-changing moments of, is it going to be tires or track position that gets you into victory lane? Or could it be the hard decision of, you're one of the leaders and you have to pit because you know you're just so much slower than everyone else?
It's going to be a big decision. I mean, this is all about timing, really. It's really how the cautions come down. If it stays green from here on out, I really do like the cases for some of these drivers on the fresh tires. I think the first one we're going to see on those fresh tires is Vincent Sora. So he'll be 8th, Fonseca 9th, Crawford 10th, Reed in 11th. I really like that 4 right there. If this race was to have a long green run to the end, or at least have 30 laps here, where they could really get the full use and difference out of those tires, I think they would transition themselves to some lead track position here. But I think if we get another caution here in the next 15 to 20, you're going to see some of these other drivers possibly flinch to come down. So it's just really going to be a timing of when do you want to make your last pit stop.
If you're just joining us for the first time here tonight, we have the first half of this race go clean and green. Jared Talmadge ultimately was dominating this run, and we saw a couple of moments where Ollie Fonseca was catching up, but it just wasn't enough for him to make the pass for the lead. But ever since our halfway zone, we've had multiple different cautions come out, different strategy calls being made. It's allowed Danny Cochran now to be in this lead position. The driver that is still in the chase was given an extra chance with Alan Elwood backing out of the chase. This too gets a win here tonight, and it could change his fate of going for his 2nd career ISRC championship. We'll see, though, how the rest of this race goes on. Green flag is back in the air. The 2 is clear, and now it's the battle for 2nd place. John Forbes, Jared Talmadge. How much beating and banging are they willing to make as other drivers are putting the pounce, putting the hunt? It's going to be fresh tires versus old off the exit of turn number 2.
Some beating and banging going on farther back in the field as some of these drivers getting aggressive on fresh tires as they're trying to know that time is running out and you got to make the moves. Vincent Sword dive into the inside here of Joshua Kanai. Now going to force the issue here on Trenton Jump 2. This is going for top 5, but the yellow is out as Justin Sipes up into the outside wall.
As he has trouble. Sipes once again trying to get by Noah Steele, and it does not work out because he got some help from Logan Brakey. Goes to the inside of the 82 and spins him around. Sipes back in 20th position. Not much else he could do there on that initial go. As Zach, this is one of those runs where the 82 is trying everything in his power, but it just doesn't really work out when he's got competition trying their best to make the big passes here. So it's going to be the moment 3 wide into the corner, and Logan Brakey, small little tap, and Sipes goes around with the big contact in the rear end.
Tough break there for Sipes, just going around for the 2nd time in a row, but this one due to contact. And Brakey on the inside there, it's so tough to make that bottom stick. And I'm not surprised to see him wash up the groove there. It's just with the entry angle you have down there, it is so tough. And it's unfortunate that the paths came across each other and they all make contact, but that quick yellow there just reset everything again. And now the new tires kind of got to wait a little bit longer.
As drivers are getting their tires on, some staying out. Stipe's the only one to make a pit stop under this caution. As this is, again, only race 2 of 5 in the chase. We have 3 more races before we can crown our Season 8 champion of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. Next race on the calendar going to be Darlington before we head to Rockingham and finish out the season at Kansas. Crown our Season 8 champion. Still, a lot of these drivers are in the hunt entering tonight. Jared Talmadge with a 19-point advantage over Isaac Shelley. Going to be a 20-point advantage over Joshua Kanata. Stovall, his championship hopes are over as he was on vacation. I hope that he's enjoying his time away. I know he was hoping for a championship run, not going to be the case for Season 8. But then you got Nick Crawford. He's still up front. He's got a chance to try to rebound. He's in 11th now, but with fresh rubber. And we'll see if he can get this charge forward. But, I mean, Zach, you look at the points, you got to be one of those championship chase drivers, win here tonight, and do not allow Talmadge to win. Otherwise, it can make this championship feel a little bit out of reach.
That's for sure. If he goes and gets this victory, he is about to stretch the gap so much. I mean, he's already almost led the most laps, and I'm sure at this point he's in that position to have that. So we'll see if anybody can take that from him. I'm not sure if Cochran can do that, but we'll have to see how that works out. But that's another 3 points he could bag. I mean, it could be a big one here tonight if Jared can win this one. It could almost push it to where drivers have to go out and win almost every race.
Who can stop the 27? Can any of one get by the 2? And who's willing to make the big moves here late? As drivers exiting out turn number 4 into the restart zone, and we are green once again. Danny, though, waits for the delayed takeoff and go. It hurts his teammate John Forbes, but finally as clear as Danny as they head down into turn number 1. Here we go, let the madness begin as drivers already going 2-3 wide through turns 1 and 2.
Big moves being made, and I thought that time Talmadge almost perfectly timed that restart. He was almost able to stay on the quarter panel of the 2, but fortunately with the dog leg, the 2 was able to clear that 27. Is right now everybody getting aggressive, 3 wide, big moves being made.
Big driver who's trying to initiate these 3 wide moves. It's going to be the 15 of Vincent Sora, some of the cleanest tires out there, the freshest of those that are inside of our top 5, and trying to find his way forward as quickly as possible. Oli Fonseca also on that similar set of when they last went into pit road. The 24 trying to stay close as John Forbes. This is his best opportunity to try to slide into 2nd place, but it's just so hard to make passes on these older tires for those 2 drivers, and all that it's doing is giving a chance for Vincent Sora to go take a 2-for-1 pass if he gets the opportunity.
Vincent Sora loving what he's seeing the racing right now, going down in front of him. At one point was spun around, now back into the top 5, up to 4th, and quickly closing in on that battle for 2nd. And if you're Forbes, you got to look up in the mirror. I know you want this 2nd spot from Talmadge, but I think at some point you're going to have to fall back here and try to just hold 3rd, because that 15 will quickly be looking for that quarter panel and leave it open.
Talked about team orders. Are you willing to be selfish for yourself because it's in the chase? It's all about you winning the championship. Or are you going to get out of the way and enable your teammates to race for a championship, race for a win? Currently, Danny Cochran is in the better spot, but if you're John Forbes, your true competition, a driver that you're worried about, if he gets into a run, is Vincent Sora and Jared Talmadge. You can't afford to allow those 2 drivers to get ahead of you, and just like that, Sora gets by, but Forbes trying to utilize maybe a little bit of a boxing move to keep the 15 high.
And that's exactly if I'm Talmadge. Box that 15 in. Do not let him get clear of the 11. Try everything in your power to keep them side by side. That will enable your opportunity and your chances so much better. But 15 with the great run, able to do it. But now he's going to look to the inside. And I think maybe the 27 up the track, maybe a little bit of contact from the 2.
And it's going to enable 3 wide through the dog leg, and John Forbes now going to have a chance to get by back into 2nd place. And there was contact. Jared Talmadge got moved out of the way. We were curious on when we were going to see those gloves kind of come out, and it does. Coming up to 30 laps to go. Vincent Sora no longer waits. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. He wants the win here tonight. That spin has reignited the 15, and his hunt to kill mode is now on.
It is definitely on, Sam, and I tell you what, this will be a great victory for him if he can pull it off. He's got to get around Danny still, and a long way still to go in this race, but at this moment, since in the prime position, the next truck on tires, Fonseca back in 6th. He's still trying to get past Shelly. And contact being banging.
Shelly absolutely using up the 24. 25 goes down low. 3 wide attempt going on back for 5th place. Cody Reed gets through. We're 4 wide now for 5th position. Who's going to sneak their way through? It's Joshua Kanata all the way down to the inside pass. They're still stacked on top of one another, and it all started with the Shelly and Fonseca contact. They're still rubbing doors against one another off the exit of turn number 2. And what a move and contact made. Reed, now he's the next driver to try to hunt down Vincent Sora.
Oh man, this is wild scenes here. I don't know how that contact initially happened. I don't know if the 98 stepped out sideways that caused them to go left down the straightaway, but big hip check down that straightaway that caused all of that. There is now Fonseca will clear the 98 machine. We'll see if there's any more extracurriculars, but now Crawford trying to get around the 46 a jump, but it's Reed, like you said, who's positioned himself with the freshest tires now behind Vincent Sora.
And Trent Jump's going to be in a spot where he's just trying to stay afloat. He's on 30 lap old tires compared to those that are on 20 lap old tires. That slight advantage, it's what's helping these passes just easily be made. Nick Crawford now going to be moving up to 6th position. He gets by that 46. Ollie Fonseca able to get by and move forward, but used up to the outside wall is Garcia. He's got nowhere to go, and they're still beating and banging and jump. No, that's Breaky. Hold on tight, and the 29 does. We stay green.
Oh man, Justin Sipes and them, all of the drivers getting super aggressive back here with some of these moves. It was close down there in 3 and 4. I don't know what driver got pushed up into the wall, but somebody got used up pretty good there going through 1 and 2. So it's getting to that crunch time. We're coming this next time right here to go. It'll be 25 laps as Cochran is now going in 3 and 4 as he's got his teammate Vincent Sora on the back bumper.
And these two drivers, they entering tonight, both going to be for Vincent Sora. He was 10th in points. He entered into the chase as the points leader after winning the regular season championship. But as last week, got wrecked early, called it quits, finished last after last race finished up. Danny Cochran, though, he came away entering tonight 11th in points. Both these drivers need a win, if not multiple wins, for a chance to go for this championship for Season 8. And Danny Cochran given a second chance with Alan Elwood giving him the position after stepping away from the chase, and the 2 continues to fight. Recognizing track position's the key. He's had plenty of chances in the past on knowing on how to defend drivers that have better tires, have better positioning, and the 2, he needs to bring out everything in the toolbook and the toolbox to win here tonight.
It's very interesting to see Vince Sora taking every opportunity to get to the inside. I would expect maybe with the gap he had, maybe play a little mind games. Make the 2 think where you're going to go. Make them think maybe you want to make that late move to the quarter panel in the center. The corners, the caution's out.
Caution's out. I think Danny was still ahead. It's Isaac Shelley going to be spun around for the 98.
Oh, and yeah, he's going to have some contact. I believe him and Michael Miller coming together off the exit of 4 that brought this yellow out as, actually, I don't know if it was contact.
I think he's just spinning first.
Yeah, I think he just catches the apron actually here.
Here's going to be the initial. Was there contact going into the corner? Got Shelley out of sorts. No, just a heavy pressure. Gasses it up, and away he goes. And I don't think there was any contact officially made, but except for that inside wall and for the driver who entered tonight, 2nd in points in the chase, Isaac Shelley. Hard contact and damage. Where will he finish out here tonight? Because that vehicle looks to be ruined. Wheel-wise, steering-wise, it does not look good currently.
Yeah, I was just watching him. He can't even make the quarter turn, really. So it's a tough spot for him right now. So he'll try to get back to pit road.
Pit road, busy. Everyone into pit road except for Justin Sipes. Who's going to have the better stop? This could be the make or break on who wins this race. If you're the first driver out of pit road, you might be seeing yourself in a victory lane. It's going to be 20 laps to go when we go green. Here we go. First stop in. Danny Cochran hits his mark. He's clean into his spot. Same for Vincent Sora. They both enter. It's all about the exit. How quick can you get your pit stop be made by your crew? And who will cross the line first? John Force took 2 tires. The 11 takes the lead for those that are exiting out of pit road.
I am not surprised to see that. I was expecting more 2 tire changes, and I think Fonseca followed suit with that too there, as he's going to be on 2 tires. But it does look Vincent Sora did beat out Danny Cochran, so he wins the race out for the 4 tires. So which one will prevail is the big question here.
And it's Justin Sipes with 17-lap-old tires that will lead the way up front. The driver who's been slipping and sliding finally is going to pass some clean air. But how well can he have on this restart? I mean, Zach, this is now wide open. Ollie Fonseca will be on the inside, as it looks like Sipes has agreed that he wants the inside row. That means if you're Ollie, if you get a good launch, this fight is on for second and potentially the win.
Hold your breath, folks. This is about to get wild here right now. I mean, literally 2 tire changes here. I'm not surprised. I was really expecting a few more drivers to try that, but it does seem like they were the only 2 in the field to make a sub 14-second pit stop. So that means most likely they were the only 2 to take 2 tires. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But I mean, if you're Sipes, the question is, you know, how does he manage this restart on these older tires? If you're Fonseca, this is probably your best opportunity with, you know, Sipes starting on this bottom side. If he was starting up top, I'd be actually giving the advantage to the 15 of Vincent Sawyer here. But with the ability to start behind that leader, sometimes you're able to get that jump.
Is overtime needed? We have 2 overtime attempts if we get to that point of the race, but it will be 19 laps to go when we go green. We've seen cautions breed cautions. Do we stay clean and green, or do we get a quick yellow? Who's willing to go 3 wide, 2 wide, run each other over? We've already seen the bump and run be utilized, and John Forbes, oh no, Sipes, Forbes, Ollie's in the lead while caution is out. It was all wheel spin on the old tires, and away they go.
Oh man, I don't even know if maybe there was just a little bit of net code here, because the 11 gets jacked up, and that's what turns him into him, because Vincent Sawyer never touched him until after that contact was made. So something jacked the 11 up there.
It's just, I'm curious if the blimp view will give a better look at what happened, because it's just get into the restart
net
zone
code between him.
Yeah,
I think it's the net code off the 24's right front that clips the 11, and Forbes now, I think, going to be gifted. Oh no, Fonseca gifted the lead.
Fonseca was able to get clear of both drivers at the timing of the yellow. Here's how Fonseca gets through.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, slight wiggle, but I mean, at the same point, it looked like Fonseca was coming down either way. But the net code enhances it. Gets the 11 and the 82 caught up in the mess, and Ollie Fonseca with the 2-tire call being behind the leader is now your lead driver in control for these restarts. And Ollie Fonseca, I mean, he entered tonight 28 points back from Jared Talmadge. If he wins, he's now inside of a shot to get back into this chase. But we know that this race is not over. There's still a lot of racing, a lot of restarts potentially here tonight. And Ollie, I mean, you got to be feeling a little bit better that, hey, I'm now in control, but how control are you really on these restarts? You have such old tires with taking just 2 sets on your last pit stop just 4 laps ago.
Yeah, this is about to get wild right here, Sam. I mean, that was an interesting restart. I mean, I really think nobody did really anything wrong there. It was just circumstantial things that took out Sipes there, but just a tough break. And now Fonseca with the control of this race on 2 tires. You got Cochran up here now on the first truck on 4, up the second on the front row. I mean, both these drivers have went a long time without victories. I would not be surprised if we see some elbows being used. And then we got Forbes, of course, back here in the second row. Stuff is about to get very, very spicy, I think.
As Justin Sipes still with required damage. I believe he's out of this race. Ryan Ferraro has left the server. He is done. Ethan Smith not showing any signs of leaving pit road. And it's going to be Ollie Fonseca up front. 24 in the control of this restart, but he is surrounded by all teammates for Cochran, Sora, Forbes Racing. When you've got, you know, rival team around you, and they already are irritated with the spin out that happened just about 30 laps ago. I mean, if you're Ollie, you need some friends, you need some allies, and they are nowhere to be seen. Cody Reed's the closest one, but he's 3 cars back on the inside. You need a little bit of help. Restart is out. Green flag in the air. Ollie Fonseca with a clean launch for himself, but what do the 4 tires have? On to the 2. Fonseca with the clean run, but what does the 2 of Danny Cochran have with those 4 tires? He's not able to rip it up on the entry of the corner, but here's the exit at 2.
Oh, the cold tires, though, a little bit of a wiggle from the 4 up on that inside or outside line. We'll see if the grip will come to them as they get heated up. But remember, cold tires have been an issue down here off the exit of 4. A lot of drivers sliding. Those 2 tires are really tough to hang on to. Forbes sliding, but the caution comes out farther back.
It's Thomas Green in the 3. He was in survival mode, and it did not work out as he will get ran over by the 91 of Mark Morales.
Again, another situation where we see a similar style incident down here into turn number 1. And not surprising again to see this is, again, one of the spots that is so tough to keep your truck stuck and glued to that line when you have the angle like this. And Morales going in there, I think just a little too deep. Unfortunately, he's going to wash up into that 3, and it's going to spin him around and bring out a yellow flag here. And we're going to reset him and have the same exact top 5 from that last restart. So this just magnifies things that little bit more. And Fonseca sitting in the catbird seat.
I know for these drivers, it is survival mode for yourself, but I want to say thank you to everyone that is watching along with us. I know you got a lot of family and friends that are rooting for these drivers here tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching. If you're enjoying the show, remember to hit that like button. It helps so the stream is seen after the stream is over, as well as getting more eyes on this league that gives us such incredible runs all around. I'm curious as well, who are you rooting for as we are clocking down these laps and getting down to the final stages? Ollie Fonseca looks to be in the better control position, but obviously those teammates that are running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I mean, Zach, that exit of turn 4, right before the yellow came out, they almost all 3 took each other out.
Yeah, it was definitely dicey. I'd seen a lot of people sliding there. I think those 2 tires are going to be a little bit slippery on these restarts, especially coming up off of 4. So, you know, once they get, I think, some heat in them, I think they'll be fine. But watch for that 2 and that 15 to have a little bit more rear end stability here, I think, on these restarts, especially early, just due to having a more balanced, you know, setup on those tires instead of one side being a, you know, really worn out set of warm tires, while the other set is a, you know, a very cool new set of tires. So it can definitely throw things off here. But I will say also, with all these heat sequences and stuff like this, it is bringing those left sides back, you know, into the same range as those right sides.
Got a couple of more drivers in pit road. Thomas Green leaving pit road. He is currently 1 lap down. Isaac Shelley still getting repairs done. Justin Sipes officially calls it a night as he has left the server. And those that are rooting for drivers, Cody Reed's dad, Lenny Reed, out there in chat, rooting for the 25. He sits currently, going to be in 5th position, 3rd car on the inside. Zach, I mean, with the ways that I've got a feeling some of these drivers, John Forbes was willing to, I don't think intentionally do it, but he did push Danny into turn 3. We might be seeing some bump and runs, and those drivers that are 6th on back, 5th on back, they still have a chance of gaining some big positions if our leaders get a little bit too antsy and try to make too big of a move.
That's for sure, Sam. This could very much come from go from push to shove here in a little bit. So we definitely could see those moves getting a little bit more aggressive. But if you're the 2 of Cochran here, you got to make sure to clear the 11 so you can quickly get to work on the 24.
Drivers, get ready. It is a 10-lap shootout. Do we need overtime or can we race to the end? Let's find out. As drivers are stacked, they enter the restart zone. Ollie Fonseca takes off and go. Danny Cochran was trying to get the timing. He took off just a little bit early, had to back off, so he will not stay to the outside quarter panel as much as he was hoping to. Fonseca will have the spacing, but Forbes with the lunge to the inside. John Forbes pushes Ollie high. The 11 gets through. John Forbes with the nose ahead, and all the recovery he was hoping for. Forbes gets through.
We'll see right here if there's any retaliation, and there was some, but it's
Ollie.
too big.
He tried everything, but he was too far back. At least keeps it off the wall, but the rest of the competition, it's on, and it's Cody Reed to the inside for 2nd place. He's now fighting for a chance. Reed wants to go back-to-back here, but oh no, contact. Reed spun around. And it's the opposite of deja vu of what happened to Reed and Presley Sora last season, but it's Reed that gets spun around this go around.
Oh man, so many things to say from all of that right there, and some big moves being made, aggressive ones, slide jobs, and not clear jobs. I mean, it was definitely some interesting situations.
And here is where it went down. Cody Reed, he just ships it. And I would watch the replay last season, and Cody there wasn't as much space to work with, kind of forced the issue high, and Cochran was not going to let go. He was going to keep his foot down, and if Reed was going with them, he was taking them.
Yeah, that was, like you said, there's no way you can lift in that situation and let the 25 in. I mean, you're just giving up track position to go fight for the win. And yeah, I mean, if you're Reed, I understand the move you're making there, but unfortunately just overstepping right there. And the biggest thing for him, he definitely cannot, say there's anything to lose for him because he's not fighting for, a championship here. So Reed definitely, I think, nothing to lose going for this move.
No, and the thing is, right, the position that Danny Cochran's in, same position Cody Reed was in last season that allowed Cody to win. And I'm not surprised by it at all. And gets through, and there goes Danny Cochran. He'll be in 8th place on this restart. Cody Reed will be back in 15th position. We'll see how these drivers reset, but I talked about drivers further on back having a chance to get back or get a chance to fight. Up to second is Nick Crawford. What does Crawford have? Because we've been seeing drivers willing to bump each other out of the way. John Forbes was moving drivers to make sure that he could get to that lead position. Is Crawford willing to make that move? Because we have not seen that Crawford racing style, I feel like, ever. And I don't know if we're going to see it tonight, but that would be a shocker. And another shocker, 4th place, it's Malik Coates who's now in the fight.
How does he got up here, man? That is wild to see. It's definitely a switch up here from our front positions, but this is gonna be interesting. I mean, we saw the aggression from Forbes. I mean, he literally sent the 24 to that 3rd lane up the racetrack, and then the 24 went to retaliate, but in my opinion, just too much there. He just, if you're going to get back into that driver, you got to make sure they're the one going up the racetrack, not yourself. So that was, I understand the frustration going in the corner and the reason to do it right then, but I think he could have waited possibly for the perfect situation, maybe down to 1 and 2 here to really use them up.
A lot of drivers have already used up all their sets of tires, so they're stuck with what they have. We get ready for this restart. It is going to be 5 laps to go. If we get another caution before the white flag, we will be heading to overtime. And if you haven't shared it yet, might as well share the stream, because I got a feeling we might have another caution upon us. John Forbes is the lead driver on the inside in that 11 machine, yellow and green. John Forbes hopes to get into victory lane. He had a rough go last week at the end of Talladega. What does he have here in a magic run? Or does Nick Crawford maybe steal it away? Or is it someone else? Green flag is out in the air. Forbes is already going to be clear. Going to be Vincent Sora to the inside. Going to be having a nose ahead for 2nd position. Jared Talmadge, what does the 27 have? Can he go back-to-back in the chase? As now he's side-by-side for 3rd position. But Forbes, can he get the clean launch out of 2?
That's going to be the big question here. Good job right now as they're wrecking farther behind.
It's Miller, it's Cochran, and the rest of the field, the big one, striking on the backstretch.
And this right here is going to set up another restart in Forbes. I think loving this because it shortens the amount of green flag laps. Going to probably most likely make this a green-white checkered, so just 2 green laps you'd have to hold on. So we'll see how that works out. But definitely wild scenes there coming out of turn number 3 or 2. There is.
This was the previous caution that came out. But it's certainly a lot of wrecks went around. This was what brought out our previous incident, as this was when Danny and Cody got together. But another wreck of Danny Cochran trying to find a way to get through, but caught up with multiple people around him. As everyone was just battling side by side. You got Trenton Jump, Danny Cochran, Michael Miller. They're 3 wide even behind them. And drivers over the radio apologizing to one another. They just didn't know they were 3 wide, and you could see the just collapse of everyone squeezing into one another, going for the same real estate, and it just did not work out.
Yeah, when one driver doesn't get that 3 wide call and just doesn't, understand that they're 3 wide, they're going to run that normal line thinking they could wash up out the racetrack, but it's just not going to work like that. As Miller here, you can see, just going to wash up right here in the center of the corner off the exit. And unfortunately, Danny's there, so he can't go any higher because of the car above him. So tough situation, but some hurt trucks after all that.
And Miller almost going flipping. Would have been a continuation of saw Ollie flip at the end of last week's race at Talladega, and we've seen a driver flip before. It happened at the end of last season's race here at Phoenix. That was when Danny Cochran went for a wild ride for himself. But talking about last season, driver trying to get redemption. Vincent Sora came away second during that race. Will he be willing to go for second here, even though it's his teammate ahead of him? Or are you going to say, all right, well, John Forbes made the move that pushed the driver out of the way. Are you going to allow him to just make that move? Or are you willing to push Forbes out of the way? And then you got behind them, Jared Talmadge. Not a teammate, Alliance driver teammate in a different series on Wednesday nights with the WSSR Cup Series when they're under the Nightmare Fuel Racing Group. And here tonight, are you willing to make enemies with allies on Wednesday? Or are you hunting for that championship to absolutely solidify yourself in a much more comfortable position with 3 more races left in the chase? We are officially into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 2 attempts if needed. It is going to be a green-white checker, 2 laps to go. When we go green, if we get a caution under this first lap, we will go into overtime attempt number 2. But if we take the white flag, the gloves are off. It's all about who crosses the line first to take the win for the second race of the chase for season 8 of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. John Forbes, he's on 2 tires. It's Vincent Soar with 4 on the outside. Behind them, it's going to be Jared Talmadge, winner from last week, Nick Crawford, and we are green. 3rd row, a little stacked up. It's just our top 4 that are right on top of one another. Vincent Sora needs to take off and go, but Talmadge is keeping the nose there. Here we go, Zach down into turn number 1, and Cody Reed comes around.
And Reed's wrecking. Yeah, I don't know if the yellow is going to come out as he's still backwards, but we're going to stay green up front as Forbes has got the great exit, but Sora's cleared, and now they're beating and banging off the wall farther back.
As Vincent Sora, he's finished second so many times to John Forbes in the past. They exit at a turn number 4, and Vinny has got the run. White flag in hand. It is your gridless graphics white flag. Does Sora do the bump? Ricky behind's going to be Trenton jump. They're still scattering further on back. More drivers tossed to the side. That's Nick Crawford, but it's the teammates in line. Do they stay there? Vincent Sora, you got 1 attempt, 1 try. Do you use the bumper? He doesn't. He's going to go off the exit of the corner, and Forbes is back into victory lane. Winner of chase race number 2.
Man, oh man, if you would have told me Forbes won this race about the halfway point, I would have said there's no way. And I mean, he just played it perfectly and got his way to the lead. I mean, this 24 not going to be happy with how he did get to the lead, but we'll see if that comes back to bite him later in the season.
I mean, that's where you see teammates racing with one another, and you're curious on if you're going to allow your teammate to make the bump and run move that gets him into victory lane. Are you willing to put the bump and run on your teammate? No, they keep the friendship, they keep the alliance, and they allow the 3-time champ to get back into the fight to make it 4 in a row. Forbes wins here at Phoenix. Congratulations to that 11 team. As for us, though, we are going to step away. When we come back, we're going to talk to our top 3. We've got John Forbes, Vincent Sora, and Jared Talmadge. And the post-race show interview. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for race number 2 of the chase at Phoenix for the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. We head to Victory Lane to talk to the 11 machine, the gridless graphics, yellow and green, gets himself into Victory Lane. John, congratulations on the win. You had to bring out the elbows, move some drivers at times, survived your teammates' assault there late. How are you feeling coming away with the win here tonight?
Yeah, all I was thinking about when we were coming down pit road with like 20 laps to go was Nick finishing in front of me a few seasons ago by taking no tires or 2 tires. So I was like, yeah, I'm not putting 4 on it. I lost it last time doing that, and I was already like 3rd or 4th on the cars that were on the same tires as me. So I knew I had to do something different, and then it got crazy on all those restarts. And then, yeah, Ollie just, I mean, I haven't really had too many issues with him in the past, but I mean, he's wrecked me out a few times, and I've really never retaliated. So I gave him a pretty good little bump. There's a clean bump and run, didn't really mess him up or anything. But I think after that happened, he really became a fan because, I mean, he decided to ruin his own race to push me in front of everybody. So that was pretty cool. Maybe send him some merch or something in the future. But yeah, overall, the race was really frustrating. It was so hard to pass the entire race. I mean, just with the aero package and the truck and everything, it's so tight, and it's so tight that it becomes snappy loose on the exit. So it was really hard for me to keep up with that all night, and I really hadn't done any race practice before the race. So I came into the first stop, and I was like 20-30% less front tire than everybody else on my team. So I knew I was doing something wrong. Maybe wasn't using enough brake or something like that. So I tried to work on it the rest of the race, and I definitely was more even. But that's the thing, I just became even with everybody. It was so hard to move around and try different things because it really wasn't getting you anywhere. Just running one line, and then once you get to the bottom of somebody, you're stuck, and then you basically fall in behind them, and then you get freight trained by the guy behind you that stayed on the outside. So yeah, just really tough race. I knew I had to do something different, so that's why we took 2 at the end of that.
Definitely a great decision, I think, to take 2 there, John, and get the track position. So congrats on the win, man. But take us through the 2 tires. How did that change up the balancing? Did it ever give you really any trouble, or were you actually pretty pleased with how they fired off?
Honestly, I think they fired off better than 4 just because it loosened up the truck just a little bit. So I really like that aspect of it. But going off the corners, the last 2 restarts, it was really hard to fend Vinny off. I don't know if I was just overshooting the corner or it was just the tire difference because I was just plowing up the racetrack. It was probably on my end. He was just really good there all night. So after I slid up there with like 2 or 3 to go, I was like, oh, he might actually have a shot with this. And if we had one more lap, he may have gotten there, and it would have been a fair battle at the end. But yeah, luckily it was 1 lap short.
Yeah, I mean, John, we know that we got 3 races left in the chase. This win really elevates you back into looking a lot clearer into this fight. How are you feeling on that end? And another question on top of that, were you shocked that Vinny didn't try to give you a bump there late, or was it kind of talked about of how you guys wanted to race there at the end?
Yeah, the track's coming up for us, especially like Darlington. That's really a place where I'm looking at getting a win too. Just a lot of great tracks for us coming up. So to get through Talladega and with a pretty bad finish and recover here tonight, it's really what we needed to do. I'm obviously still going to be decently behind on the points lead with Jarrett finishing 3rd tonight. But the bonus points for the win really help out. So I'm going to need at least probably 2 more wins to get in contention, or if Jarrett, and that's assuming Jarrett has good finishes as well. But yeah, I don't think Vinny was close enough to be able to do something. I mean, it would have had to have been really drastic where it probably would have wrecked both of us like Ollie did. But if he was a little bit closer, it would have been fair if he like did a bump and run or something like that. I mean, that would have been completely fine with me because we're all teammates and we're always up front. So I mean, it's kind of hard to just give room to everybody all the time, and it's been frustrating for a lot of us in the chat the last few weeks since the chase started to all like it's hard to race your teammates because you obviously have to race them with more respect, and there's lines that you just can't cross, and it's really hard to figure that out between each of us. So I think we're at a point where it's like it's in the chase, whatever happens, but none of us would do anything like drastic to ruin any of our other hopes at the chase or anything like that.
Well, John, it was awesome to watch you march your way through, getting the time into the cautions and yellows to take that strategy call. Congratulations on the win. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Jay Performance, Nexus Esports, always being on board, helping me out with stuff. And then Justin, brother, gave me a great truck tonight with it was kind of a Carl Edwards Subway kind of throwback they used to run at Phoenix every year. So super cool. Go hit him up on Gridless Graphics on Instagram or Trading Paints to get a scheme from him. For you guys, I mean, you guys had to sit in there tonight. It was a lot of cautions, but we had a good run to start the race at least.
It certainly was. Well, John, again, congratulations on this win. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you, guys.
As that's your winner here tonight, the 11 of John Forbes from Victory Lane. We now head to second place, the Dr. Vincent Zora, who at one moment we thought was going to be the driver in complete control. Maybe we thought he was going to send it down and give the bump, but instead stays behind John there late. Vinny, you had a roller coaster of your own night. Comes away second. How are you feeling with that finish for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I'm frustrated because I think, on probably 4 different occasions, I should have been the race winner tonight and still fell short, which is just so par for the course with me. Feels like it's never anything that I did wrong and just getting really unlucky there. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I might have been the fastest truck tonight. I just early on got kind of stuck behind a couple guys there, and when I finally got around him, I was really hunting Jarrett down on the long run. And then I pit and I jumped him, and I was going to be in a perfect spot, I think, to win the race and just kind of aero block him for the rest of the way. And then, of course, we got a yellow there in the middle of the pit cycle, and it turned into a wreck fest. And yeah, from there on, I mean, I'm getting ran over from the same common denominator as always, just for no reason. And I'm still able to bounce back and finish light years ahead. So, yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. Last week I got put into a hole, and I'm on a hill now to try to get back what I feel like is mine and the championship this season. So I just need to go into the next 3 or 4 races, however many we have left, and try to get some wins and capitalize on others' mistakes.
Definitely a tough and up and down race for you, Vinny, man. Had the speed, like you said, but unfortunately going to come out in second here tonight. But stop the bleeding after Talladega last week, heading to Darlington and Rockingham next. We saw some big aggression from a lot of drivers out there, big moves being made, especially late with those yellow flags. What's your opinion going into these next few weeks that you're gonna have to do to put yourself in position to go win a championship, because we're seeing some really big aggressive moves being made by a lot of guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to race like a champion is what I'm gonna have to do. I don't care. I'm not cutting any breaks from here on out. I'm way too nice. I've had that problem the entire time I've been on here. Maybe not vocally, but on track, I cut way too many breaks and get nothing in return. And I just get raced like a clown, like I did tonight. So there's definitely a few guys in particular, and they're probably watching right now. And I have no problem saying their names if they want me to do that. But yeah, I'm going to start using people up and racing them how they race me and everybody else, because I'm sick of it, and they're costing me week in and week out, and I'm not going to stand for it.
We got 3 races left, Vinny. We got Darlington, Rockingham, Kansas. What are your feelings on those racetracks, knowing that your competition in the chase, those are some of their strongest racetracks we're heading towards?
Yeah, I feel really good at Darlington. That's always been one of my best tracks on here. So I don't know. I haven't raced like any of these guys in the trucks at Darlington in a long, long time. It was all the way back in season 1, back in like 2021. So yeah, I think it should be a fun race. I'm just gonna have to learn as it goes on, and hopefully have the speed that I do in other leagues there. Rockingham. Again, I haven't raced the trucks over there since season 1. I did win that race though, but times have definitely changed a lot. So Kansas is just going to be another 1.5 mile draft track, and I'm sure we're all going to be bunched up, and it's just going to be a lot of pushing and shoving and elbows out racing as always. But yeah, I think there's 3 racetracks that I can go get 3 wins at, and hopefully another championship.
Well, cannot wait to see how these final 3 races line up for you, Vinny. We hope for the best. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, definitely shout out to John. I had fun racing there for those last 2 laps. Just unfortunately ran out of time. It was nice to actually get to battle for it, though, after about 45 minutes of wrecking for nothing. Shout out to all my teammates. Danny, he got screwed over by me tonight unintentionally, just because one of the other common denominators pulled a slide job that he got mad about last time, and I had no time to check up, and I got ran over from behind, and it killed him. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, because you do a great job, and I'm really looking forward to going back and watching it. And then all the admins over here.
Well, that will be your second place finisher here tonight, Vincent Sora. Congratulations on second, Vinny, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. As we move from second, we go down to third. Surprised, I mean, he had to work his way through, got stuck in traffic, but he dominated that first half. We got the driver that won last week and should be the points leader entering into Darlington next week. We got Jarrett Talmadge with us. Jarrett, I mean, the first half, you could say was picture perfect. And then after that, it turned into a roller coaster for you to try to get the track position back. But how are you feeling coming away with third here tonight?
I don't know. I feel like I should feel a little more happy because I think we stymied everybody else behind us in the points, other than John and Vinny there. But they didn't gain too much. We got pole led. I mean, I think we led the most laps. I mean, thing was on rails at the start, and then I don't know, in typical fashion, the goofballs came out in the second half, and we just couldn't figure out how to drive laps, man.
Definitely a tough end in there for you, Jared. I mean, like you said, an excellent start to this race from pole, just leading that first whole stint. I mean, once you got back in those restarts and back around 6, I mean, you know, what is like the mindset there? Is it just survival, or are you just trying to find any way forward? Because we know how important track position was, but a lot of big moves there at the end. You know, you kind of had to pick and choose your battles, I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to say it's about looking forward and trying to go forward, but I mean, you're looking in your mirror and left and right more than you are forward, just looking for somebody who's just going to do a stupid move and probably try and wreck you. But it's tough once you get behind like 4th or 5th there, because it's tough to pass, so everybody just takes the mindset that they got to like just make any move they get or try and throw moves that just never going to work. But it's tough once you get behind 5th just to do it, and we just got behind on that caution and the strategy there and did a good recovery up to 3rd, but it was just tough from that point on.
Well, Jarrett, the points just got updated. You are still the points leader, 17 points over John Forbes, which we're heading to John's, if we look at the stats, his 2 best race tracks. What's your mindset knowing that we're heading to Darlington, Rockingham, and then Kansas being the final 3 races of the season?
It's probably just going to be, I mean, damage limitation at that point. We were looking good to really extend our lead tonight, but Darlington, I don't really drive there in the truck at all, so I don't know how we'll be there. Not a fan favorite of Rockingham in the truck at all, and then Kansas is just a plate track, so I'm sure that'll be a wild one, and we'll probably junk some more up the rest of the season, though.
Well, Jared, we're excited to see if you can hold on to this championship lead and be crowned the Season 8 champ, but good job on tonight's recovery after being slotted around. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I like shout out to John and Vinny, and Danny when he's up there. The racing up there was fun when we actually got some green flag laps to do it. I'd like to shout out you guys for putting on the broadcast. Hopefully, sure the second half wasn't as enjoyable, but hopefully the first half was enjoyable for you guys to commentate. I'd like to shout out everybody who runs the league. Gridless Graphics had a new paint out here tonight. Looks great. Sucks we couldn't put in Victory Lane, but we got it on the podium, so it got some more TV time. That's about it.
Well, that'll be your 3rd place finisher here tonight of Jarrett Talmadge. Jarrett, congratulations on your run here this evening, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you.
As now we're going to move down to 5th place finisher. That will be the 77 machine of Malik Kuntz, who, talking about roller coasters, this guy certainly had one of those final laps. Malik, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Malik, they're late. We looked at those final couple of restarts and said, where did he come from? You were up inside of the top 5. Had on those last couple of laps, accidentally got into people, but you come away with a 5th place finish, 2nd highest mover of all drivers here this evening from where you qualified. How was your night from your perspective, though, coming away with a 5th place finish?
I mean, I guess it's, at the end of the day, it's good, but I really do not like this track. And I just, coming into this race, I honestly didn't know if I was going to, run the whole race or not. And we went through the first run, and I had kind of committed to it. And then the caution just fell, and I don't know. It was bumper cars, and so it just somehow ended up in P5. And yeah, there was a end of the race. I really didn't mean for those last 2 incidents to happen, and kind of feel like I was racing knew it wasn't malicious at all, from my side at least.
definitely a wild night there coming down to the end with all those restarts, Malik. But it was so tough to pass tonight. Like, take us through trying to set up passes because it looked almost impossible at some points.
Yeah, it's just, we were talking about it, and I don't know if the trucks just don't have enough power or what it is. It's just this combo doesn't produce passing, and I compare it to, which I have the same feeling for this track, like as Pocono. I don't really like either track, but the trucks drive, for me, very similar to those tracks. So obviously Pocono you can pass a little bit better, but there is, that back and forth where it can be tough. So I'm not real sure. It is tough to pass, and I think you kind of saw that. I had several people get past me, and that was because I let them go. But you can hold somebody off, and then once they get around you, they can leave you. So it's one of those tracks.
Well, Malik, we got 3 more races left in the season. We have Darlington, Rockingham, Kansas. What's your ultimate goal for the rest of this season with those final 3 races?
Rockingham is one of those iffy tracks for me. I've ran good there. I really like Darlington. I would like to see long runs at Darlington, maybe one caution to break it up, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Kansas is, this also produces some pretty good racing as well.
Well, we cannot wait to see how well you perform at those racetracks, Malik. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
I just appreciate the league and you guys for broadcasting.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That is going to be Malik Kuntz. Came away with 10 positions gained from where he qualified here tonight to take his second top 5 of the season. Congratulations, Malik, on this finish, and good luck on the rest of the season, and especially good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you.
As that will finish up our interviews here tonight. It certainly was a wild one, a lot of back and forth all around, but it came away with John Forbes taking the win, grabbing his 4th of the season, first in the chase, and puts them right back into the position of 2nd in points as he tries to run down Jared Talmadge. Our biggest mover of the day, that is your Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover, goes to the 3 machine of Thomas Green. Again, he was not allowed to qualify and had to also get an EOL to start at the end of the line, and the 3 machine up 11 spots from where he started. A little bit of controversy between Thomas Green and Cody Reed. Cody Reed might be given another L2 penalty going into next week because he qualified, so we'll see what admins deem on that issue. But let's take a look at our unofficial results for tonight's race. Taking the win, like I said, John Forbes grabbing his first win of the chase, now just 17 points back from Jared Talmadge, and we're heading to a streak of racetracks where John is fast and known to get to victory lane. Also behind him will be his teammate Vincent Sora. Jared Talmadge comes away 3rd. Samuel Garcia with another top 5. This 50 machine is just finding it for himself. It takes away 4th. Malik Kuntz 5th. 6 goes to Ali Fonseca. Joshua Kanata rebounds to 7th. Noah Steele, where did he come from? Takes 8th. Mark Morales with all of his woes, all of his contacts. He'll take 9th and finish out our top 10. It's our biggest mover of the day. It's the 3 machine of Thomas Green.
And as we look through the rest of that order, you're going to see the first truck outside the top 10, the 2 with Danny Cochran there. Tough break for him, leading that race late, and is going to have a yellow come out that takes away his chance to fight for any type of victory after getting involved in some late race wrecks. Nick Crawford also going to end up back here in 15th, another playoff driver. Tough break for him. Trenton Jump back in 17th. So some of our playoff guys having some tough runs here to finish out the night, and I think a couple of them got caught up in some of those in wrecks there because Jump 12 seconds off the lead there, telling me didn't get back to the line under full steam because he definitely was hurt. So tough breaks. Same for Cody Reed back there in 18th, but man, it was a wild scenes after all the yellow flags, Sam. It really became a game of restarts after that first yellow, because that first yellow we were clean and green, and then from there it was chaos.
Yeah, big reason on Trenton Jump, Nick Crawford. Both were those drivers that Malik Kuntz got into coming to that white flag and on the white flag. It's frustrating, I think, for both of those drivers on the fact that they got caught up in so many issues and wrecks and took away what could have been a potential decent race that you can salvage for the rest of the season and try to stay in the hunt for a championship, but it's going to be a tough one overall. For us, though, We still got more broadcasts throughout the week to give you. We've got ourselves heading to Dover on a Wednesday night with the WSSR Cup Series, the WSSR VRS Cup Series, I should say, as it is going to be a fun one. You don't want to miss those next-gen cars heading to concrete. It's going to be a madness one. Zach, how confident are you knowing the amount of drivers we're expecting to show up, and it's heading to a very narrow course?
Well, my confidence is gone. It's zero for me as a personal driver, but like, I think we'll have a good race as a league. You know, we did have Dover in the playoffs, you know, not as many cars, of course, but, you know, we did pretty much go clean and green the whole time through that. So we'll see if they can match that. Of course, I think we'll have 43 this time, so I don't know if that'll even be, you know, technically possible. I think at some point the yellow flag will show up, but you know, personally, I'm just going into that race trying to get my you know, season back on track, because I'm 42nd in points and we need to get it going before these races get too close where I gotta rely on a championship provisional. That would be pretty embarrassing.
Hey, you never know. We might see some magic shake up as a lot of drivers are trying to find their hunt. Again, you want to check out the incredible next-gen Cup cars of the WSSR VRS Cup Series Wednesday night here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And then we're back next week. You don't want to miss it as we head to Darlington for the next race in the next round, the third race of 5 in the chase. And it currently is Jared Talmadge looking like the strongest one so far. John Force with his win here tonight now bounces up to second in points. Who else can join them in the fight? You'll have to wait and see. With just 3 races left in the chase, it is still wide open. But for tonight, congratulations to the 11 machine of John Forbes, grabbing his 4th win of the season, first of the chase. And for us here tonight, it's been a fun one to call. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining with us on your Monday night. Cannot wait for the chase to continue. Could it be Forbes? Could it be Talmadge? Who else could try to steal the show and put their foot back in the gas of the chase and hunting for the championship? Have to wait until next week, but if you can't wait until then for more great racing action, we got you Wednesday night. The WSSR VRS Cup Series brings you to Dover. Who can survive the Monster Mile? Miles is ready. We'll see you then on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.